And welcome into it, everybody. Thursday edition of Gwynn and Chris. Chrisello, Tony Gwynn Jr., Idle, and Matt Skraby. We are together in the Odyssey Palace studios today. Get up here on the YouTube chat feed shortly. I'm a little slow today, Skrabe. Step slow. Feeling maybe a step and a half.
You know,
step and a half slow today.
People say I'm a mean person, but
oh no,
when I realize things, I don't actually put them out. I know that you traveled today, so I figured that you might be a little tired, and so I haven't said anything. I've been nothing but a ray of sunshine today.
Pleasant, very pleasant today.
Yes.
I think everybody in the Padre world is quite a bit more pleasant than they have been.
Yes.
It's amazing what one little breaking story can do. And we'll get into that in a second. Meanwhile, the rain persists at the Genesis Invitational at Torrey Pines. Very interesting that it has rained twice here in the last, 5 years?
Yeah.
And
basically.
one was during the actual Torrey Pines tournament, the Farmers.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then they bring the Genesis here, and it's been raining there all day. But they are playing Scotty Scheffler. Pretty good name to have on the leaderboard, Skrabe. He's a -3.
He's always seemingly there. So.
He did, but he's on top at the moment. We'll keep a little eye on that. But let's go back to yesterday. I was in Las Vegas. I was doing a basketball game. You were doing the Skraby Chronicles.
Yes, I was.
And then all of a sudden, the Padres, miserable, man, they're never going to do anything. They are just leaving us hanging out to dry.
We have no direction.
We have no money. We have, obviously, there's no direction, so AJ doesn't know where he can get the money from.
This year is over.
We've been trying to convince everybody that, even if they don't sign anybody, it's still a good team. But now, it's not the name Nick Pivetta that caught my eye, Skrabe. It's the 4 years, $55 million that caught my eye. Did anyone, now it's the way they're doing the money is very interesting, but did anybody, and I mean anybody, expect that the Padres were going to be attached to a $55 million contract, here on February the 12th, which was yesterday?
Answer is no, Chris.
Right?
Answer is no.
It's totally no.
I literally, Frank and I did the first segment, and so I did this whole thing about Randy Vasquez and how he's going to be a good guy for the fourth or fifth spot.
Well, he very well may
spot.
still. Yeah,
but
now
this was before the news. This was before the news. So I did a whole segment on that, and then I find out it happened, and I was stunned because, like you said, I expected them to spend negative $10 million this offseason.
I expected them to maybe cut somebody before they were going to go spend $55 million on someone.
I expected them to trade without signing anyone in free agency.
Yeah.
But all of that was put to rest last night with Nick Pivetta's deal.
Blown up completely.
The creativity of the deal. I love it.
Yeah, it's very creative. Now, I'm not... Well, every now and again, I'm the bearer of negative news.
Uh-oh.
And I don't mean it to be negative here.
Uh-oh.
But understand this. We are all, and I'm included, we are all going a little gaga over a guy that has pitched in Major League Baseball for 8 years. He's 56-71. His career ERA is 4.76. He was a little better than that last year. His career whip is pretty unsightly as well, 1.316. Gives up a lot of hits, gives up a lot of runs. But I also know, having said that the analytics, I can't think of another word, the analytics nerds who have broken down Nick Pivetta say that this is the best signing the Padres have ever made. Strikeouts per 9 inning, whiff rate, BAPIP, I don't know, all that stuff, Skraby, that I don't get into.
I subscribe to K percentage.
Yeah, right. I mean, the K percentage, whiff percentage, the break on his sweeping curveball, how hard he throws. Somebody put together a nice tweet last night of him striking out Shohei Ohtani back-to-back at bats.
With a high fastball.
On high fastball. So people, I think, are excited because the Padres did something. Here's the difference. This is not the lottery ticket that they've been going with for the last month and a half, where you're getting somebody and just hoping they pan out. This is somebody who's going to be the number 4 man in your rotation.
This is a track record.
So there's a big difference between him and some of the other signings that have been made. So I'm excited. I know everyone's excited. The fact is the Padres are not, going to just stand completely idly by. And I feel a little bit vindicated, not me personally, but maybe us as a show, because we've told everybody the entire time. Don't rate the offseason until the offseason is over. And it clearly, as of February 12th, was not over.
I do think there's an excuse that there was the news of the lawsuit that was hit with us on January 6th, 2025.
Sure.
I think if that doesn't happen, I don't know if we're as panicked. We're probably as panicked, but...
Well, we might be a little... We might have been like, hey, why aren't we signing anybody? But we would not have been as worried thinking there's no way they're going to spend any money because of that situation. And obviously, they are going to spend some money. Did you see my tweet last night by any chance?
Yes, I remember you. Yeah, I saw.
And did you figure it out?
You
didn't figure it out.
I think
did you?
so. You put up like, hey, we're all good.
Okay, it was.
What?
My tweet last night was 7 lines long.
Yes, I think we're talking about the same one.
Yeah, well, I only tweeted once last night.
But what did I not get?
Well, I want to see if you can figure it out. There's something to it.
Oh, I think I know.
Yeah,
Hold
you
on.
should know.
Pivetta.
I spelled out Pivetta with the first letter of each line of the...
How many people caught that?
I don't know. I have no idea. A lot of people, obviously, a lot of people like the tweet. They're excited. But I didn't see anybody write me and say, oh, that's clever that you spelled out Pivetta on your tweet.
Oh, I see that Tony replied to you. Is this actually Tony?
I don't know. Tony Gwynn Jr.?
He did, and...
What'd he say?
That's messed up, Tony.
Oh, no. Why did he...
I got to make sure this is him. Yes, this is him. He said... Just listen next time, friend. That's messed up.
Tony's saying, hey, I knew you all along, and you didn't know all along.
You know what? Tony is calmer than most, but
yes, he is.
He would never admit. There was even probably a little bit of doubt in the back of his head about this offseason.
He's lying if he didn't have doubt.
And I think he would say that, and Tony is calmer than most, but that's messed up. I'm going to call him out when he gets back.
You're upset that he took a shot at me like that?
Yeah, because honestly, I feel like you have not been as crazy about this whole thing as me. You've been more, and I know that he's not replying to me. Anyway, Tony, that's messed up, man.
All right. Now, once Nick Pivetta was brought into the fold, I think the first question everybody had and has is, what does this mean for the persistent rumors that Dylan Cease and or Michael King will be traded to try to fill other roster holes? At least for now, you'd have to say that A.J. Preller has shot down that idea.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Do we have his comments?
About Dylan Cease, yes.
All right, let's hear what A.J. Preller had to say about the possibility that now Pivetta's here. Maybe this means something else is going to happen.
There's been a lot of interest and speculation around Cease. I know you mentioned like in the top three rotation. Now that you added some depth to the rotation, where do you stand with Dylan in terms of where you expect him to be on opening day?
Yeah, I mean, it's a similar spot. Like, again, like I think we look at our rotation, obviously Dylan King and Darvish, Dylan got Cy Young votes last year. He's probably been as consistent as any pitcher in the game. His ability to take the ball, like in that first series, is very important. And again, like I think we're always a team that with any player, you always gotta listen. A lot of teams this offseason have interest in a lot of our players. I think some of the speculation again, like has been not accurate that's out there about different possibilities. But from our standpoint, we've to have a guy like Dylan that's he's one of the best pitchers in the league. It's 200 innings every year. He's got the ability to dominate. Throws a no-hitter last year. That's a very big part of our club, and I think, the additions the last couple of days is to supplement what's a really good rotation. I think that's our focus here going forward.
Boom! Supplement the rotation.
Sounds like he plans on starting the season with 4 very, very secure pieces in the rotation.
Yeah.
Sounds like he plans on going with Cease and with King and with
Darvish
and with Pivetta.
Yep.
And that means the number 5 spot will be up for grabs. I would say Waldron gets the first crack at it.
I agree.
Vasquez is right there. And then, what of this other signing today?
Yes.
Randy Macho Man Savage.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
It's not Randy. Yeah, I think.
And no, at first I thought his name was Kevin Hart, and I'm like, what?
No, it's
Don't
not
sign
Kevin
somebody
Hart.
named Kevin Hart.
His
That's
name
going to
is
annoy
Kyle
me.
Hart.
Yes, Kyle Hart, who was a star in the KBO. In fact, was like the Cy Young Award winner last year in the KBO. So they're bringing another. That to me is another lottery ticket. But hey, doesn't mean lottery tickets can't cash.
It doesn't mean that,
So-
and don't discount the fact that AJ Preller has done really well in finding players from the KBO and Nippon Professional Baseball and bringing them over here. So
He's done pretty well. Very few of them have come in and dominated right away, if any. Normally, I mean, Hassan
Robert
Kim's
Suarez,
okay.
Nick Martinez, boom, boom, bang,
All
bang.
right. All right. We'll see. Obviously, Randy Macho Man Savage is going to change the outlook. Oh, yeah, it's going to change it all. All right, we're underway. We got a good one lined up for you today. Glad you're with us. Rob Bradford, who's really interesting, fun to visit with. He has a podcast called Baseball Isn't Boring. And he's out of Boston, so he knows Nick Pivetta and everything about that really well. So we'll catch up with him in the 3 o'clock hour. And Nick Boyd, the guard for the Houdini-like San Diego State men's basketball team, is due on the show today at about 4:20. So I'm looking forward to all of that. Looking forward to hanging out the next 4 hours with all of you. Gwynn and Chris, I just read that. Tony taking a shot at his partner.
I
don't think he got what I meant by my tweet.
I don't think he did either.
My tweet was meant to calm everybody else down.
Yeah, but I think he's somewhat flexing that he was the calm one.
Okay.
We're gonna have to talk to Tony about this.
Yeah,
Another
we will.
day.
And we will remember too.
We will.
We have memories like elephants.
Yes.
All right, Gwynn and Chris is underway. Thanks for being with us.
We want to treat.
Yeah, a lot. I mean, obviously, you got to have a lot of guys step up. I think starts with, on the position player side, we've got, multiple players that could be an MVP consideration, and having those guys play to the best of their ability. I'm talking about Tatis and, Machado and, Xander and Jackson to lead it. And, with guys like Arise hopefully winning another of their batting title, you're looking at a starting pitching group that, has a chance to, you look up, and if we have multiple guys that are in that Cy Young consideration individually, strong bullpen, health is always a big part of it. We've seen that at different points in the last 4 or 5 years. And then a continuation of what we saw last year. I think with Schulte, the coaching staff, very detail-oriented, the little things that go to winning baseball games that are not seen by a lot of people that we got really good at. And we've done well at different points over the last 5 years, but we got very good at last year. And, a group that just enjoys being together. It's a real thing. It's hard to quantify that or put a number on that, but, players that like competing with each other, like being around each other. I think all those things, like having some elite talent and players that go out and perform well, and then, having some attention to detail and doing it a little bit better than some other groups. And then just having some players that enjoy competing and doing it for the fans of San Diego. And
There you go, AJ Preller says.
Oh, hold on. Sorry. We had someone trying to fix our microphone in the break, and I had to do it. There we go.
AJ Preller seeming to think there that we're going to just win the NL West. No, he didn't say that.
No, the question was, what will it take to win it? And he said
Right.
a lot. And by the way,
Yeah,
he
he
didn't
did.
fix the microphone.
Yeah, I know. I'm hearing a little static myself. They tried. I agree. I mean, he said it's going to take a lot to win the division. Of course it is. But how far back did they finish last year? 4 games? Wasn't much.
Yeah, it wasn't
By
much.
the time it was all said and done.
Yeah.
So, who knows?
There was a shot of us, of the Padres, winning a bunch of games at the end of the year and the Dodgers losing a bunch of games, and the Padres could have won the division.
I don't remember that.
It was a long shot, but if the Dodgers lost out,
The
10
Dodgers
games-
finished with a 5-game win streak. And
Yes,
they ended
I
up
know.
winning it by 5.
No, I know.
So they needed those 5 to put the Padres away.
Okay.
Anyway, look, everybody feels a whole lot better about things. Now, here, before we get back to all of this Padre discussion, I want to go back to my tweet yesterday. Because the whole idea of the tweet was to make a comment about Nick Pivetta signing, and at the same time reminding everybody that you should never give up until it's time to give up, right? I mean, we all pretty much said the Padres are never going to do anything, et cetera, and that's just not true. They ended up doing something. Now, my tweet was, Padres, do it again. I should have known. Vent all off-season, except the off-season wasn't done. Time was short, time for AJ to do his thing, and now we have hope renewed. As you figured out finally, Skraby, the first letter of every line of that spells out Pivetta. Nobody else figured it out, though. At least from what I can tell.
Me.
I'm getting people that are like, you don't understand grammar. You don't understand syntax. You're an embarrassment. Like, people are just off the charts critical of everything you do.
Well, you got to remember, you are in the cesspool that is Twitter.
I know. I get you.
There is no... You know how I describe Twitter to people who don't use it? It's like a wasteland. It's like Mad Max Fury Road type world where anything goes. So I wouldn't worry.
I'm not worried.
But I also
just think I think it's interesting that people can take something so innocent and try to create a fight over the thing.
I think people...
It's really?
I think some people are smart. Most are not smart enough to figure this out, including myself. So maybe you should have told us, after tonight's signing, I have written you all a poem. Pay attention to the first letter of each word. You have to write that.
To me, that
would
give the whole thing away. I want people to figure it out for themselves, and apparently they did not. And that's the way things go. 2:23 is the time. Crisello, Matt Skraby today. Tony Gwynn Jr. is idle, but apparently not completely idle.
Yeah, what the heck?
He had plenty of time to criticize my tweet himself yesterday.
And he morning. Joined into the Twitter mob without actually looking at it.
Come on, T.
You know what you should reply with?
What?
You should just say, just read it next time, friend.
Figure it out, friend.
Yes.
You obviously didn't figure this poem out.
He's like, oh, I'm going to tell him this. And then little does he know, it's a puzzle within a poem.
There's a little puzzle in that poem, yes. Some of the other moves, of course, Alex Bregman is going to the Red Sox. So I'm assuming that the Red Sox are hardly going to miss Nick Pivetta. Now that they get Alex Bregman, they're probably excited by that. And look, it's all coming together like it does pretty much every offseason. You know, all of these guys out there, there's still a bunch of guys that are not signed. Did you ever see the name Nick Pivetta on the list and go, that's the one I want? Because I never said that.
Oh, no, I didn't say that. But the reason I didn't say that is because lately his name has been popping up a lot more because he's one of the last of the best free agents. And I was looking at him and I thought, he's just going to cost too much money. There's no reason for the Padres or for me to think they're going to go with this guy. And look what happened.
How do you cost? I mean, again, somebody set me straight here. How do you cost so much money when your career record is 15 games under 500 and your career ERA is 4.76?
Because
despite whatever analytics you might have out there that say he throws hard and he has great spin rate and he has whiff rate and he's this, that. I mean, I read it all the analytics last night, which said this is a brilliant move. I hope it is. But how does somebody like that convince?
I'll tell you why.
Convince baseball that I'm worth $55 million despite the fact I've really never won a whole lot in my entire career.
I read something about this last night, and I'll tell you why. It's because he is a legit fourth person in your rotation. Okay. You know what you're going to get from him. He's not going to be an ace. He's not going to be a fill-in guy or a bullpen day guy. And that's why they're paying him, is because he's going to be better than who you already have, is what I read.
Well, I would agree with that. I would agree that he fits here exactly what we need. So what's next? Is there anything next out there? Look, right now you have Connor Joe, you have Jason Hayward in left field. We've discussed that. We're not sold necessarily on this particular program. Jason Hayward is going to have to prove to me that he can start 80% of the time and be productive. I believe Connor Joe, in the 20% of the time that he starts as part of that platoon, will be productive. I'm not as convinced about Jason Hayward. And having said that, you still don't have a DH, at least one that you can count on.
Yeah, you don't have
Somebody
that
is going to have to emerge as your DH. Because remember, Arise is going to play first base now. Cronenworth at second, Bogarts at short, Manny at third. Arise was the DH most of the time last year. Right now, you don't really have one. You're also still a question mark at catcher. And we know that you're a question mark in left field. So would it still make sense to make one more big splash?
I think so.
You do?
I do, because as Annie Halbern tweeted earlier, Pivetta's contract keeps the Padres' payroll below $200 million, but puts them about $17 million over the first luxury tax threshold. A team CBT figure is calculated at the end of each season. This tells me that they're not afraid to spend a little bit of money. I think they're seeing that they're going to have to spend a little bit of money to compete in the National League West, and I think they might see this as an opportunity to bring in another bat and just say, hey, we'll pay the bill at the end of the year.
Well, Alex Verdugo is about the only bat out there that I have seen that really kind of moves the needle for me. The other way you could do it is by still making a trade.
Yeah.
And even though A.J. Preller said we're not trading Cease, we're not trading King, we're happy to add Pivetta to this rotation, Robert Suarez is still a possibility. If you want to take a shot on one of these new guys, understanding that the closer role in baseball is pretty much fluid with almost every team in baseball. I mean, there are no more Trevor Hoffmans left. I mean, you know what I mean? Or Mariano Rivera's.
Yeah.
Or even Eckersley, if I want to go back that far. There's Eric Gagne's. There's nobody that's just a closer for like 5-6 years in a row anymore. This thing changes up endlessly. Devin Williams might be kind of like that. The Yankees got him. But you know what I mean? It's very fluid. And maybe you trade Robert Suarez and you say, hey, I'm going to start with Jason Adam. And then I have a bunch of other young arms, and Ruben Niebla figures it out.
Sean Reynolds can throw hard. Johnny Brito can throw hard.
And maybe the guy they just got from the Korean League.
Kyle Hart.
I can't remember. I cannot remember his name. I really can't remember. I am convinced that his name is Kevin Hart, I know it's not.
It's Kyle Hart.
Yeah. So you could still do that to take care of your DH situation. It's just something.
I don't think they're going to
be
be spending $100 million or $150 million, but if they can get someone who's willing to accept a deal like Nick Pivetta did, where you're getting paid $1 million base and then you're getting paid 19 next year, like if you can have, if there are guys out there that are willing to do that, they can add a bat and make it cheap for this year.
All right.
We'll worry about next year. I can't believe the roles have been reversed, Chris.
What do you mean?
I'm not worrying about next year anymore. I'm just worried about this year. I don't care what happens next year.
All right. Again, I'm looking at some of the bats that are out there. I think that the trade of Suarez is a better way to get somebody legit.
Probably.
Unless, like I said, Verdugo moves the needle for me. He's 29 years old, but he's probably going to cost similar to what you just paid. All right, we'll take a quick timeout. When we come back, we're probably going to get into the Daily Gambit a little early today because our guest from Boston to talk, your friends from Boston. What's that commercial?
Yes.
From
Boston.
Yeah, that one. Rob Bradford will join us, and we'll talk about the signing of Nick Pivetta at 3 o'clock. So ahead of that, we'll play some more A.J. Preller sound from spring training. Mike Schilt has spoken up, and we'll also probably get started on our Daily Gambit when Gwynn and Chris rolls on.
Gwynn and Chris on the Fan.
Guys, I love the
Ruben, I think it was pretty clear where this team is at, and I felt like they wanted me, and that was something that I kind of set out at the beginning of free agency was let's kind of combine opportunity with a chance to win, a great clubhouse, a great culture, and I was putting those things first in my journey, and as soon as I started talking to those guys, it was clear that this was going to be the best fit for me.
Kyle Hart, that's him, the left-hander. He's
smart.
like a good left-hander. He's smart. He chose the Padres.
Well, that and he put the best of two worlds together. Hey, I could go to a team I like and win at the same time.
Hopefully that is what he does. Hopefully Kyle Hart is a contributor. To me, he's still got to make the team. He's 32 years old. He won the Choi Dong Award in the KBO. I'm just kind of running over the name of that award very quickly before you think it's funny.
I'll just move on to
Choi. Anyway, it was in the KBO. He led the league with 182 strikeouts and walked only 38. It's a good ratio.
I mean, they
But
just
it's the KBO, and I got to tell you, these guys in the major leagues, they don't swing at anything that's 1 inch off the plate.
unless you're
So it's much more
Javi
difficult.
Baez or something.
It's much more difficult to fool these guys in the majors. But another intriguing addition.
Nick Pivetta, high strikeout guy. Kyle Hart, high strikeout
Well,
guy.
that's what everybody's going for now.
Dylan Cease, high strikeout
Michael
guy.
King, high strikeout guy.
Yu
Yu
Darvish,
Darvish, one of the highest of all time. He's
not so much anymore.
He's faded a little bit, but if you look at some of the all-time ratios for strikeouts per 9 innings, Yu Darvish is way up there. And Robert Suarez. You want guys that are missing bats. That is basically the whole idea behind analytics, to try to find pitchers that miss bats better than others do.
Yes.
Because the thinking is once the ball is hit, put in play, there's a lot of luck involved as to whether that's an out or a hit. For example, I could crush one off of you 370 feet, but it could be tracked down in left center field by Jackson Merrill.
That
That is an out. The next guy could bloop one off the fists and a drop over Manny's head down the left field line, and that's a double. What was the better pitch? What was the better swing?
And then you would serve me a meatball up the middle, and then this would happen.
That's gravy. Rah, rah, rah.
Eduardo Ortega calling my home run off
Off
of
of
you.
me.
Yes.
Eduardo. I never let him live that
No,
one down.
I like what they're doing. And I like that they did it on the first and second day of spring training.
Not waiting around.
Not waiting around. Don't let these guys come off the board.
Well, they're off the board now, but they're with us.
Yeah, it's good.
It's just nice to look down the top headlines and see the Padres mentioned more than once, because they really haven't been mentioned other than the lawsuit stuff.
That and
for
how
the last
bad their
3 months.
offseason was.
Yes, I mean, Kylie McDaniel, we read it, was it yesterday or 2 days ago? Yesterday. Kylie McDaniel's article about the team with the worst offseason in baseball, and the Padres are right at the top of the list.
What say you now, Kylie McDaniel?
Kylie, you might have to make a little alteration on that.
Yes, let's make an alteration.
All right. A lot of pressure, though, on Nick Pivetta to be, really, really
I
good.
don't think so.
You don't?
I don't think he needs to be an ace.
Well, are you going to accept 6 and 12, 4.14? Because that's what he did last year.
We talked about this on the show last night, the Skraby show.
Okay.
Do we really care about the win-loss statistic? Because Randy Vasquez pitched better than 4-7 last year.
Nobody seems to care about the win-loss statistic
So that's why
anymore.
I'm throwing it away.
Although I find it interesting that win-loss statistic is actually what places you in the standings.
Okay, that is true.
So people can say they don't care about the win-loss statistic, but it kind of matters in the end.
I think even though, a pitcher who pitches a great game and comes out after 7 innings and the next pitcher gives up a bunch of runs and then they're just not going to get a decision, I think that's wrong, too. We should have a stat for that. How many deep inning no decisions does a pitcher have?
Nolan Ryan had... I'm reading this right here because I just saw it the other day. Nolan Ryan had 198 career quality starts that he did not get the win.
That's
198.
insane.
His record in those games was 0 and 107 with a 2.27 ERA.
Okay, so we should not pay attention to win-loss statistics.
And 9.7 strikeouts per 9 innings.
Yeah,
That's
can't pay
incredible.
attention. We can't pay attention to those stats.
198 times he pitched lights out and got nothing for it. Interesting.
I like how
So
I
that
will
goes along-
reference
that
a
goes
good.
along with what you're saying.
Yeah, you can't pay attention. I will reference if I look up Nick Pivetta and he had an 18-1 record last year. I'm going to rally around that stat.
You'd be pretty psyched up, wouldn't you? Yeah, 6-12 doesn't quite grab you the
no,
same way, but
it doesn't.
hey, look, man, I'm counting on you analytic people to be right. Because I read it all. I read it all last night, Skrabe. This guy's got the best rate, the best spin, the best heat, high angle. Whatever.
Sam played a really good
They
clip.
loved him. They love this Pivetta guy. He's incredible according to the analytics. So.
I'm going to trust them. But Sam played a clip from, I think, Buster Olney's podcast last night, and they were saying that his fastball is probably his best pitch, and he didn't use it as much last year. So they expect him to use his fastball a lot here in San Diego.
All right. We're excited. Nick Pivetta is the man who has altered the path of the Padres offseason in one quick move.
I think they're actually starting the construction of his statue at Petco.
I know. It really does feel that way.
Well, because we didn't expect it. This was such a pleasant surprise.
Yeah, it was. I saw it go across the bottom of the screen last night when I got back from the basketball game in my hotel room, and I was like, huh? Like, that throws me. Wasn't expecting. All right, let's do a little daily Gambit catch up. We got some big games coming up in especially college basketball tonight, so let's take a look at that.
Do you like money?
I think about money a lot.
Do you like money without doing anything?
Winning.
Do you want to make money while watching sports?
I think Washington is immortal luck.
Washington! Woohoo! If you answered yes, this is your segment. Just don't blame us when you lose.
Nothing is ever your fault.
It's your game. Take it.
Gwynn and Chris go through the top bets of the day in The Daily Gambit on 97.3 The Fan.
Daily Gambit is our daily sports betting segment here on Gwynn and Chris. Please, everybody, gamble responsibly. I am watching the coverage of the Genesis Invitational right now at Torrey Pines, and I cannot imagine. I can't even put myself in their position.
Playing
this golf course in the rain.
One of the hardest golf courses on tour, would you say? Or is that overstating
No,
it?
that's truth.
I did see somebody with a video the other day. They were standing on the fairway on one of the holes.
Okay.
And they took a golf ball and just flipped it into the rough.
Yeah.
And then walked over to it. There was no golf ball.
It gets eaten.
Buried so deep. How do you learn to hit one of those, Skrabe? Because I don't believe I could.
Well, you can't.
Well, they can.
Well, yeah, you just chop at it and hope for the best. And they're very strong, too. I wouldn't recommend amateurs doing it because that's an easy way to break a wrist.
Trying to hit it out of the rough?
Yeah, you can get stuck on a root or something.
Yeah.
But, yeah, this golf course looks long. The leaders are at 3 under, which tells you it's not an easy day.
It's not easy. Scheffler's on top. There's a couple of other guys that shot 69.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I thought the guy's name was Seamus Power, but I'm not sure, so I'm not going to say that. Cal was at Duke last night, and Duke was a 23.5-point favorite.
Deal. I mean, come on.
Duke, you and I chose, and Duke won the game, but they only won by 21 points, 78-57. So come on, Cooper Flag.
Stupid Cal flying all the way to North Carolina for the 20th time this year.
To only lose by 21.
Yeah, I mean,
expecting more out of you.
The point?
New Mexico was a 15.5-point favorite over Wyoming. You chose Wyoming. I chose New Mexico. New Mexico won, but they did not cover, 71-67.
Good job. Wyoming played them tough. I mean, I had a feeling that New Mexico might, these are college players. You have to remember that. And you can tell them, hey, you've got to gear up for every opponent.
Yeah.
But when you're New Mexico and you've been beating Utah State and San Diego State and Colorado, all the big teams, and then Wyoming comes in, you let down. You just do. So it's a close game. But
it was a close game.
Anyway, New Mexico prevailed.
Lakers played the Jazz in Utah last night.
This was a stunner.
This is a stunner. Lakers 9-point favorite with their guy Luka.
Yeah.
They lost by 13, 131-119. We both picked the Lakers. We were both wrong.
But I don't know that LeBron played.
I don't know.
I'd have to look.
I looked to see if Luka played, and he did.
He had 16 points.
So this trade has been a failure so far.
It's stupidest trade the Lakers have ever made. I don't think there's any question about it.
I can't agree with you more, Chris.
Yeah.
Can't agree with you
I will
more.
say one thing I did see last night that did not surprise me was Luka whining to the officials.
Okay.
He is really good at that.
Okay, I'm just going to move forward.
LeBron played. He had 18 points, so I beg your pardon.
So this was
there.
a bad loss.
That was a bad loss. They play him again tonight, though. Oh, no,
Again?
No, the Clippers play them.
I was going to say.
I got confused. They played 2 in a row against Utah. They can't play them a third time.
I mean, how much more does the league need to set the Lakers up for success by playing the Jazz every night?
We've decided you're going to play the Jazz the rest of the season.
Detroit played the Bulls last night. Detroit minus 6.5 on the spread. Chris chose Bulls. I chose Pistons. Pistons win 128-110.
Yeah.
And then, there is an incident in this next game that we're going to talk about at 3:40.
There was not an incident.
Jimmy
You're making
Butler,
this whole thing up.
Jimmy Butler plays for the Golden State Warriors
Yes,
now.
he does.
And
I want to hear how you're going to explain this to everybody.
may have had a bathroom accident during the game last night.
There is no way this happened.
He didn't Paul Pierce it. I think he went past the point of no return. We'll talk about it in the 30-mile zone.
Where are you getting that from?
Paul Pierce?
No. That
Have
Jimmy
you
Butler
seen
may
the
have had a
video?
bathroom accident.
Have you seen the video?
Does anyone else agree with you, or are you just the only one looking at this video thinking
The
that happened?
entire internet thinks that he had a bathroom accident. Golden State was minus 6.5. They won, but they only won by 4, 111-107. Actually, did
Dallas won.
Yeah, Dallas won outright, so we were wrong there, too.
Yeah, good for Dallas. The team that everyone hates. You know what? I did see the end of that game. I kind of noticed all the fans in Dallas were actually cheering. What are you doing?
What
are you cheering for? You're supposed to hate the Dallas Mavericks now and hate the GM and the ownership and everybody.
See, this is
Seemed
why
like people were cheering.
This is why bad apples spoiled a bunch.
Exactly.
Because a lot of those fans are probably upset, but at the same time, they're like, hey, this is our team. We're going with it.
Dallas Mavericks are going to be fine. I mean, right now they have a ton of guys out. They have a better record than the Warriors do. It's not a bad club. All right, here's a couple of quick ones for tonight. Clippers are 9.5 at Utah. So the Jazz beat the Lakers comfortably last night. Can they do it again, Skraby?
No. Clippers.
Yeah, I kind of think the same thing. It's going to run out on the Jazz. OKC on the road, minus 8.5 at Minnesota. Minnesota continues to be a really weird team.
Yes.
They were in the Western Finals last year, but they made that ill-advised trade. They lost Karl Anthony Towns, and now Ant-Man scores like 45 a game, but they don't win very often.
They don't.
OKC's having a magical season with SGA leading the way. It's a tough one. I'll take the home team, Minnesota, plus 8.5. But I don't feel great about it.
SGA has been awesome.
Yeah.
The Ant-Man has been awesome, but the rest of his team has not been awesome. I'm going to say OKC.
OKC is 18-6 on the road. It's
Yeah,
hardly
I'll go with
bothered
OKC.
them to be on the road.
Yes.
Minnesota's only 15-13 at home. Very mediocre. All right, Miami goes into Dallas tonight, and the Heat are favored by 1.5 over the Mavericks, who beat Golden State last night without Anthony Davis. They're not going to have Anthony Davis for a while.
Yeah, for like a month.
Yeah.
And,
do you got
I
here?
saw the video because I hadn't actually seen the video of his injury, but it's one of those things that hurts me to even watch because you could tell immediately that really hurt. I'm going Heat.
Really? Why do you like the Heat?
I don't know.
Who do they have?
Andrew Wiggins.
I'll take Dallas. UCSD is at Cal State Bakersfield tonight. A lot of people have been saying the Tritons are the best college team in San Diego.
I've heard that.
I don't think I'll mention that to Nick Boyd when he comes on.
No.
After all, the Aztecs beat UCSD, although it was a while ago. I think it was the first game of the season. UCSD is kind of the darling of San Diego college basketball right now, deservedly so. I believe their coach is going to be on tomorrow. We're
yes.
thinking about it?
Yes, yeah, I got to
Hopefully they'll win tonight.
But
I hope
it
they
is
win tonight.
scheduled.
I hope they win tonight. I don't want to have them come on and be in a bad mood. They're favored by 13.5 at Cal State Bakersfield. And right now the Tritons have the inside track to win the Big West Conference. What a season it has been. And they seem to be playing better and better as they go along.
What's the Bakersfield nickname? Mascot?
They're the Roadrunners. And the only reason I know that is because we played them in the women's side this year. Does that matter to you?
Well, I don't really think about Roadrunners when I think about Bakersfield.
Yeah, maybe there's some up there that we don't know.
Whenever I don't know a bet, Chris, I go with who would beat the other mascot.
And a Triton a Triton or a Roadrunner.
A Triton would win.
I think the Triton takes, yeah.
I'm going Triton.
Well, since we're having the coach supposedly tomorrow, I'm going to have to go with UCSD.
Supposedly.
Well, I hope we get him on. And then there's the story on the other side of town, poor USD. They've lost 12 in a row now, and they go to Pepperdine. Pepperdine's terrible, too. I got it. What's going on at Pepperdine? I mean, they're in Malibu. I mean, that's right in the middle of where the entire world was destroyed. That's got to be so crazy and difficult.
Here. Yeah, that is true.
Pepperdine's favored by 8.5 here. The Toreros played close last week. They've got to win one more game. I'm going to say this tonight's the night. USD.
Okay, I'm gonna.
You're mean. You're gonna go Pepperdine.
Yep.
I
like the name Pepperdine.
I do too.
I wish they were in the Waves.
Yes, they are the Waves.
I wish they were the Candy Canes. When you think Pepperdine, do you think Candy Canes?
No, I think Waves.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, I think Candy Cane is kind of a soft nickname. Gonzaga is home to San Francisco. Your Dons. Gonzaga is favored by 14.5. But here's the interesting thing. The Dons currently are ahead of Gonzaga in the standings. USF is in second place, 2 games behind St. Mary's. Gonzaga is 2.5 behind.
I'm first angry with you for calling my candy cane soft.
A little soft. Dons is not exactly.
I'm going to go Dons because 14.5 is a lot.
They have played Gonzaga well over the years. I'll take USF also. And then this is really the biggest game of the night. It's a women's game between number 1 UCLA, and they're on the road against, I want to see what number they are right now. They've been kind of jockeying back and forth. Number 6, USC. So you got the crosstown rivalry.
Love it.
You got number 1 versus number 6.
Okay.
UCLA is undefeated. They're 23-0 this year. But USC is favored by 1.5 points. I think this would be a really intriguing game tonight. Juju Watkins for USC, and obviously UCLA, they've been on top all year. What happens tonight?
Is it me first?
You're first. Yeah, that's a tough one. It's at USC if that matters to you.
I feel like an undefeated season means a lot to UCLA. I think they're going to do it.
The Bruins.
They're getting 1.5 too.
They're getting. Yeah, I think undefeated's too hard in this day and age.
It could be.
USC.
Okay.
Minus 1.5. All right, there's our Gambit stuff. We'll revisit some of that tomorrow. Now, Rob Bradford is from Boston. Does a great podcast there. It's called Baseball Isn't Boring. He'll join us after the top of the hour with Nick Pivetta Insight.
I'm also going to ask him about Xander Bogaerts.
Well, yeah, Xander has Boston ties as well. Some San Diego fans wish he still had Boston ties. I hate to say.
I'm going to ask him if he can find his Boston
Can you find
ties.
that Xander Bogaerts
Yes.
and please send him out here?
Yes, please.
No kidding.
He's
Skraby.
just hanging out in the green monster right now.
Good call. All right, an hour in the books. Gwynn and Chris, hour number 2 next. in our Odyssey Palace studios right here in San Diego. Tony Gwynn Jr.'s idol today. We'll finish up the week without Tony tomorrow. Then Monday is another one of these President's Days. Pretty soon we're just going to have a 4-day work week. I mean, you get every Monday off, it seems like.
I don't think that's true, Chris.
No, I know, but 2 in a row. I mean, we had Martin Luther King Day recently, and now we get the President's Day off Monday. But Tony will be back on Tuesday with us. And don't look now, but next Friday is the first spring training game.
And we are carrying it on the station.
That's right, on the 21st.
Yes.
Jesse and Tony will be on the radio airwaves for that. All right, very nice of Rob Bradford to join us from Boston. He is the guy in charge of the very entertaining Baseball Isn't Boring. It's a podcast. You ought to check it out if you're a baseball fan and haven't done so yet. Rob, we appreciate you coming on with us today at kind of short notice. Thank you so much for your time.
Oh, man, are you kidding me? It's my pleasure. It's an honor to talk to you guys, and it's been a wild day. I'm not going to lie to you. Like I've said before today, I picked the wrong night to take a melatonin at 10 o'clock at night. You know, when it started kicking in, the Nick Pivetta news just had happened. I'm like, okay, Nick Pivetta. And then, boom, here comes Bregman when I wake up at 5:30 in the morning. It hasn't stopped since, but that's what I love about it. You know, we hate how long this offseason has taken, but when stuff happens, it's awesome.
Yeah, and, you know, Boston's a whole nother world. I mean, we love our Padres here. There's no question. But Boston, there's something different about Boston. And I'm sure people are, for the most part, ecstatic about getting Bregman. But I want to ask about Pivetta and just get some of your insight. You can look at the straight-up career record, and it's not very enticing, frankly. He's 15 games below 500, career ERA 4.76. But all of the analytic numbers, strikeouts and whiff rate and spin rate and all of that seems to indicate that Nick Pivetta is a pitcher who's about to break out and have a monster season. What do you think?
Yeah, well, that's why he was offered the qualifying offer, number one. I don't think the Red Sox, as much of it as he has been up and down for the Red Sox before, that if they didn't believe that he had the potential to have that aforementioned breakout season, they don't offer him the qualifying offer. He turns it down, and he turns it down because, really, of all the things you said, the buzz throughout baseball was this guy in free agency is going to be the guy that everyone's going to want, not necessarily because of what he's done, but because of what he's going to be. And really, like, that's the world of baseball right now, right? It's really we pushed aside what guys have done, and we say, no, look at all these analytics, look at the spin rate, look at all the numbers, look at the pitch that, you know, we can teach him this pitch and it's going to be better. And so we're going to invest in that guy more than ever. And Nick Pivetta was the poster boy for this, but I think what hurt him was the way that the market unfolded. Obviously, the qualifying offer would hurt him as well. But the fact that he still landed at 4 years tells you that, you know, this guy has potential, and I do think he does have potential. Like, he's not a guy where I say, oh, he had a 5 ERA and it's a great spin rate, and you're just gonna have to take my word for it. No, I've seen this guy at his best, and he goes on runs. He can be a really good guy. He can be a workhorse. He can give you innings. He can perform at the highest in the biggest stage because he did it before in the Red Sox run in 2021. And so, yeah, I mean, I think for what the Padres did, what they got him for, I don't think it's a bad move. Yeah, it's uncomfortable because of the qualifying off a little bit, but it's not. If you like the guy, don't get all wrapped up in that. If you like the guy, then go get him. It's not going to kill you with the AAV. It's fine. So I do think I see what the Padres did here, and I really don't have a complaint with it.
Talking to Rob Bradford here of the Baseball Isn't Boring podcast on the Odyssey Network. Just Google that and you'll be able to find it and listen to it. And you talked about the qualifying offer, which does mean the Padres have to forfeit a pick to the Red Sox, and it's, I believe, the second highest pick in the draft. I guess the criticism from people out here is they're trying to rebuild their farm system. They don't have many guys that can be used as trade pieces. Is foregoing this draft pick worth it for the signing of Nick Pivetta?
Well, I totally understand that argument, and like I said, I mean, I tend to not get wrapped up in going over the luxury tax and losing spots and worrying about, losing picks because of the qualifying offer, because I'm a huge proponent of getting back to worry about who you're getting and not what you're giving up. And I know that's a simplistic way of looking at it, but if they look at Nick Pivetta and they say, hey, why we're rebuilding or why we think that we're going to ease back into contention here, it's important to have this player in our starting rotation who is going to be a good starting pitching for us toward the top of the rotation. That is what's important, why we figure all this other stuff out. So I think that I like that. I'm not going to lie to you. I like that. I totally understand the other argument because we've seen second-round picks really blow up. We understand how – listen, the top pick – the top prospect in all of baseball, Roman Anthony right now, was a second-round pick. This happens. But at the same time, you just say, what is important to building the foundation of this organization, and are we confident this guy is going to be able to produce? And you got to be convicted. And I think they were convicted in identifying Pivetta in that way.
Well, you look at a little further. Again, I'm trying to, look and see what the Padres are saying without going into the analytic part because it's so confusing, honestly, to me. But Pivetta started 27 games last year, and he gave up 3 or fewer runs 20 times, which tells you he's giving you a decent shot to win. And if you look at the Red Sox record in the games that he started, they were 14-13. He himself was 6-12. But that means he kept them in a lot of games that they ended up winning. So that bodes well. And you look at the strikeout games, he had 5 10 strikeout games last year. Now, some of this is starting to make a little better sense to me, Rob.
Yeah, and I'll go back to the year before where, he was I think it was the year before, he was taken out of the starting rotation. And this was early in the year, and he was not happy. He's a very fiery, competitive guy. And so he was not happy, but he figured things out, and then he went on a run after that. And I think that exactly a lot of things that you said are the important stuff, which is he's going to usually give you innings. He's going to keep you in the game. Some of his pitches, we don't need baseball savant to see how different his pitches are. I can see them with the naked eye. He has a 12-6 curveball, which is really unique. His rise on his fastball is elite. So all of this, and maybe sometimes a change of scenery, a different voice, that is the thing that unlocks it to the point where all of a sudden now you get the no doubt about it, top of the rotation guy. But it definitely is there. You just cited the numbers, and you're bringing back a lot of these memories where I'm like, okay, yes, he was really, really good at times. But, I think what the Padres are banking on are maybe, like I said, that change of scenery, different voice, just a little bit here, just a little bit there, you're on your way.
Talking to Rob Bradford, the reason he knows so much about Nick Pivetta, he's a Red Sox reporter for WEEI. He's also the host of Baseball Isn't Boring. And one guy that the Padres have now that got a change of scenery, it didn't quite work out as well as all of us wanted to, and that would be Xander Bogaerts. I'm not personally giving up on Xander Bogaerts, but from afar, the last couple seasons, what have you seen from Xander, and do you think that he can find his form again?
Yeah, first of all, Xander was always one of my favorite players, to deal with, because I feel like he was accountable. He played the right way. He was a good player when he played for the Red Sox. He played in some very important games, obviously, for them, all of the above. And so when he gets the free agent market and the Padres decide to blow, really it was the Red Sox away. The Red Sox were the other team involved with an 11-year offer. Nobody was ever going to go that. It was crazy. And how does Xander turn down an 11-year deal?
Yeah.
And then you're moving him back and forth in positions. The thing that always concerned me a little bit about Xander was his wrist.
Mm-hmm.
He always had this wrist problem. And I know that it's cropped up here and there again. I feel like when he's healthy and his wrist is healthy, he's a far different player. And I think he can be a really effective player. Is he going to be a player that you want to sign an 11-year, $270, $280 million contract to? Probably not. But it kind of comes back to what we were saying, all right, who do you want as the foundation players institute, why you build everything up, why you get the Jackson Merrills going, why you get like everybody else coming up, Salas. So who are those guys? And there's worse guys to have than Xander Bogaerts. I think he's probably better than he's shown in the first 2 years. But, you know, that's only me talking. Again, I'm a Xander, maybe not an apologist, but certainly a fan. I've seen the best in him. And I also know that this is a guy who isn't going to just take his money and not do anything and say, oh, well. I mean, he's going to try to figure it out, and I think he will figure it out.
Rob Bradford, great talking to you from Boston. I have one last thing. We have a minute or two left. Alex Verdugo played there for 4 years before he went to the Yankees last year. 13 homers pretty much every season, had an 11 in there, 70 RBI. I don't know how expensive he's going to be, but he's still out there. Would you take a run at him if you needed another bat?
Yeah, for short-term money. I mean, just north of a minor league deal. You know, and obviously that's not what Alex Verdugo is banking on when he's eyeing free agency. But this is sort of where he's landed. He had a run with the Red Sox where you thought, oh, he might get an extension. Well, that obviously didn't go well, certainly at the end. Then he had a run with the Yankees, like, oh, what a great fit. And then toward the end, that didn't go well. And this is where he is. This is his lot in life. But in terms of taking a flyer on a guy at low money, there's a lot worse outfielders you're going to do. Yeah, it's a flawed signing in a lot of ways. But for what's available right now, I would do it. I mean, I would for a short term, but a guy who's probably going to be motivated to hit the market again in a better spot than he is now, I would do it.
Rob, we really appreciate the insight.
Yeah, that was great.
Very good stuff. If you need anything, some insight from San Diego,
hit me up.
No, don't hit him up. Tony will be back in a couple of days.
I was going to say, he can hit me up, and I'll set him up with someone else.
But anytime you need anything, hopefully we can reciprocate. We appreciate it very much.
Listen, guys, I hope to get out. I usually get out to Arizona. I always like swinging through Padres camp. And if I do, I make sure to drop off a bucket load of baseballs and boring T-shirts to you. So I appreciate it.
Awesome.
There we go. Very good.
Thank you, Rob.
Thank you, Rob Bradford. Baseball Isn't Boring is the podcast. Check that out. You'll get more insight like we just had there. Got to check a little traffic right here, Skraby.
Give me a second.
We don't quite have the traffic yet.
No, we have traffic. I just had to hang up on him. I'm a one-man band, Chris.
Yes, you are. You're
all right.
Like
traffic's ready.
You're like a one-armed paper hanger over there.
Okay, we're going to have to talk about that in the break.
From the 855.
on Nick Pivetta. And, I think my breakdown in my own mind of what I thought about Nick Pivetta going into that interview is pretty much how I came out of that interview, Scrape, that he's not really getting paid for what he's done. He's getting paid for what they think he's going to do.
That's what they pay people for, though.
Yeah, but that's weird to me.
I know, but we've talked about it so many times.
Yeah. Well, 20 out of 27 last year gave up 3 or fewer runs. So that tells you that most of the time he goes out there, he gives you a chance to win the game.
That's a good stat.
So that's a good thing. Let's hope that continues this year. I was just looking up here at the screen. I do like the PTI guys, Kornheiser, Wilbon.
Yep.
I think that's one of the best of the shows that go over subjects and talk back and forth. Because why I like them? Because they don't yell at each other like all the rest of these shows.
Yep.
So anyway, I enjoy it. But the headline was excited about the Four Nations U.S.-Finland matchup.
Oh, I can't wait. Let's go. Let's go, USA.
Hockey has lost me, and I don't mean to be critical. I just don't even get it.
USA.
Yeah.
USA. Chris, you haven't heard this is the biggest tournament of all time?
No, it's not.
That's what people keep telling me.
I know. People are excited about it, but I haven't watched any of it, nor do I think I will, and I think I'm a good hockey guy.
I was told by someone that I should be ashamed of myself for not knowing that this is happening.
But these are NHL players that are all just being borrowed by their country for a tournament. Whereas when you have like the real team Finland against the real team USA, I seem to have a little more national pride. These are just rich, superstars being divided up in a different way to play against each other.
But I don't think they're getting paid for it.
Right. No, look, hockey players are the last ones I'm ever going to criticize in terms of, money.
Yeah.
Because they don't make nearly as much. And all those guys in hockey, man, they're terrific. So, yeah, that's not what I meant to infer. What I'm just saying is Sidney Crosby plays for the Penguins, but he also is playing for Team Canada. There's another guy that plays against Sidney Crosby in the NHL who's playing next to him now on Team Canada. That's always weird to me.
I can see how you would think that's weird.
There was a story about, you remember Bob Gibson? You don't. But Bob Gibson was the most competitive pitcher like in the history of the sport. And there was a story I saw last week about Bob Gibson. He hated All-Star games. And the reason he hated All-Star games is because he didn't like to go into the locker room with Willie Mays and Hank Aaron and Johnny Bench and whoever it was on the All-Star, National League All-Stars along with him, because Bob Gibson built up a hatred for those guys, trying to get them out during the season. And he didn't like going into the locker room and schmoozing with a guy that 2 weeks later he was going to be trying to throw a fastball by their neck.
I kind of miss those days a little bit.
We all miss those days. It's not like that at all. I mean, All-Star games are like, oh, man, I love you, hugs all around. But Bob Gibson, and, he's not the only one, but, yeah.
I also think
take me back to a little better time when teams really didn't like each other. It made it a whole lot better.
Back then, there wasn't as many distractions, and so it would maybe be easier for for someone to feel that way. But I miss it. I want that. I want the Padres to walk into the All-Star locker room, look at the Dodgers.
Yes, I'm not going to talk to you.
And put up their one-finger salute.
I don't know if that's necessary, but but can you imagine Bob Gibson, Johnny Bench comes over, hey, Bob, how are you? Get out of here. Get out of my face.
He just doesn't say anything.
Right. No, I'm not talking to you. You're the same guy I need to get out next week.
Yeah.
That was Bob Gibson's way of thinking about it. Speaking of people that are hated, we have a couple of minutes to talk about my guy, Dan Hurley, the UConn coach.
Oh, gosh.
Now, his act the other night has been widely panned by pretty much everybody in sports. If you missed it, UConn won on the road at Creighton, and as Dan Hurley was walking off the court, he started exchanging verbal confrontations with fans. And Dan Hurley eventually pointed to his ring finger and said, I've got two. And he said it more than once.
Yes.
As he walked off. And it just looked so petty for a national championship coach to be acting this way. But the more we've looked into this story, apparently the kids behind the UConn bench in that game from Creighton, the game was played at Creighton, were yelling the entire game, bleep Dan Hurley.
Oh.
And like endlessly, like never stopped.
That's
Dan
quite
Hurley,
a bit annoying.
Right? So where is going too far, and where is Dan Hurley get the right to, snap back at those guys as he's walking off the court?
Well, first, I always think the coach should have a better handle of his emotions than players.
Right.
Number one, you have to lead by example. You have to just walk right by.
You would like to see him do that. Yeah.
I kind of understand why he would want to do this if that's what they're saying the entire game, but I also think that he is the one who caused this problem for himself. Because now everybody wants to bother him, knowing that it will get in his head.
You can get under his skin.
Yeah.
I was thinking about it from our angle. If Brian Dutcher ever walked off the court at New Mexico, Wyoming, Utah, you name it, and gestured up to the crowd, hey, and then, we got all these Mountain West titles, we're a Sweet 16, blah, blah, blah. I would be shocked, first of all. It's not going to happen, but I would feel some type of way about my coach acting like that.
Well, it would be something that would be so shocking for him to do.
Brian Dutcher has so much class, and honestly, Dan Hurley, to me, looks like he has none.
He's got 2 championships, though.
And he doesn't care, right? That's right. His thing is, I've won 2 championships. My doesn't stink. And, I'll do whatever I damn well please.
I don't know this to be true. But Dan Hurley, did he play? Well, first off, did he play NBA basketball? College basketball?
No. I think his brother Bobby did.
Okay.
I think they both played some college basketball.
He's got, I wish I was a great athlete energy, Chris.
Yeah.
He wants to be the athlete, but he was only good enough to be the coach. That's the type of energy I see here. That's why he goes for the childish stuff, like pointing to his ring, telling the referee that he's the best bleeping coach in the game.
Yeah. Yeah, Dan Hurley is not a bad coach. There's no can argue that. I mean, you watch that UConn team carve up the Aztecs the last 2 years. They're good.
Yeah.
But just, somebody had a really good point. When you're going up the ladder, and Dan Hurley is at probably the top of the ladder already.
Well, he's been offered an NBA job. He turned it down.
And a lot of people with the Lakers and fans of the Lakers are
that.
really happy that happened. Yeah. But when you're on your way up and you're really getting to the summit, maybe he's already at the summit, you meet the same people coming down the other side.
That's true.
And a little humility can go a long way. And Dan Hurley has none of that. So
you do need to be nice to the little people. Those people remember.
Dan Hurley doesn't seem to be too interested in that.
I would love to see the best coach in the game have his team not win the national championship.
Well, first of all, they're not even ranked right now.
I know.
So they've got a long way to go to get where he thinks they should be this year.
Yes.
Okay.
I have a really good segment for us planned next.
30-mile zone.
Chris?
And I understand it's incredible, and it includes potential bathroom issues.
I have a shocking story. I have a gross story. I have a hilarious story.
Okay.
And I have a terrifying story for everybody today.
Really? All of that?
The terrifying story is legitimately terrifying.
Don't forget Nick Boyd from San Diego State at 4:20 this afternoon. Gwynn and Chris rolls on.
Ben and Woods on the Fan.
Coming up Friday, love is in the air. It's Valentine's Day.
having a pretty good time today. I hope you're enjoying as well. 3:34 is the time. Coming up 2 hours from right now, we will announce today's biggest fan winner. If that biggest fan calls us back within 10 minutes, they will be qualified for the grand prize. 20 tickets for them and the friends, a night in the Odyssey Suite at a Padres game. Remember, if you would like to have a chance to win this prize, you have to register your name at 973thefansd.com/biggest-fan. Do that. Still taking registrations, right?
Oh,
and
yeah.
We announced 3 winners per day. 9:30 on the morning show, 1:30 on the midday show,
Yes.
and 5:30 on our show. If your name gets called, you could end up going to that suite for 20 with 20 of your favorite people. Skraby's got a crazy 30-mile zone apparently today.
I do.
He has been talking about this like ad nauseum from the minute I walked into the door.
I'm very
today.
excited about this one.
This is going to be the greatest thing. The problem is you've built it up now, so we'll have to see what you can do.
Sometimes I have stories that, aren't the greatest. But today
You're feeling good.
I was blessed with some great stories, Chris.
Today you're feeling good.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, we'll check traffic, and with no further ado, it is the 30-mile zone.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Crystal Geyser. Alpine Spring got a number of problems on our very wet roadways this afternoon. Northbound 125 at Grossmont College got a collision in the center divide. Also, Balboa on-ramp to southbound 805, a collision. A southbound side of the 5 accident at the Front Street off-ramp. Up ahead, looks like a crash is clearing at the northbound 15 connector. Also in the North County, stalled vehicle southbound 5 before Encinitas Boulevard. It's in the center divide, and collision on West 78 at San Marcos Boulevard. Those vehicles are in the center divide. What makes Crystal Geyser Alpine Spring Water different? They always bottle their Alpine Spring Water less than 1.5 miles from the spring source. And all their bottles are made with 50% recycled plastic from their own recycling plants. Crystal Geyser, bottled at the spring source. I'm Kelly Danick with Gwynn and Chris, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
If you don't know your sports gossip, can you really call yourself a sports fan? It's time to bring together sports and celebrity gossip. We call it the 30-mile zone, mainly so we don't get sued by the real company. On 97.3 The Fan.
All right.
By the way,
yes.
Harvey Levin would never file a lawsuit against us.
Are you kidding me? I think that would be the first person
That's
to file
going to be the
a
first
lawsuit.
one to file one?
I think he's very protective over his brand.
I am one of those people that watches TMZ.
I know.
To get my news.
It's very strange. I cannot stand that show.
Well, but honestly, is it any better or worse than watching one of these all news networks? You don't know where the news is coming from. With those,
yeah,
it's really hard to sort through what's accurate, what's not accurate. I think TMZ gives it to you straight up. I really do. I know they're not known for that, but I think they.
We've said
they do a
before.
pretty good job.
We've said before that it doesn't. They don't get things wrong often, but when they do, they hide it.
All right.
Like the whole Kate Middleton thing. You remember that when they said that they found her and they posted a video of her, and then everybody was like, "Oh, that's not Kate Middleton." And they didn't. They just took it down and never said anything like, "Hey, we posted a fake video." Anyway, let's start with O.J. Simpson. How about that, Chris?
This story is
okay. Well, there's been a little update to the story.
Now you said you had one story that was a little.
This is shocking.
This one goes in the shocking
I'll tell
category?
you which one. Yes,
Okay.
This is the shocking category.
This is
this story
insanity,
has
I mean.
changed a bit, but O.J. Simpson's house, his Las Vegas house, is up for sale, and it's going to be going to auction. Now, when I first originally read the story, like days ago, it said that people had been asking about bidding on the bed he passed away on, which is in his house. The hospice people are taking the bed back, so it's not up for bid. That was the change in the story.
Oh, you can't get the bed now.
No, but there were people
that
who
wanted to
the
find out
bed
information about that.
that OJ died in.
Yeah.
Which, I'm a weird person. That takes a really weird person.
Can't see you being that weird, Skrabe.
No,
And
I
you
would
are
not buy
weird.
OJ's deathbed.
No, you would not.
But he is, all of his stuff is going up for auction, and it's basically everything in his house except for that deathbed. He's got pictures with celebrities. He's got pictures, family pictures. He's got old NFL films. He's got autograph pictures.
I love pictures of celebrities. The problem is I don't
They're with
think
OJ.
Yeah, right. I don't think I'd want one where OJ was in the picture.
Yeah, they also have like memorabilia from his playing days. There's a Buffalo Bills helmet.
Do you know
There's
that Lori
a couple footballs.
wife Lori, actually worked in a company in Beverly Hills when we lived up there many years ago. The company was partly owned by none other than O.J. Simpson.
Oh.
Right. And he used to come in now and again.
Yeah.
And anyway.
Did you ever make him mad?
Did I?
Or no, did someone ever make him mad?
I'm still here, aren't I?
Yes, you're here. I'm telling you
well,
about
then
it.
I did not make him mad.
Tyler has a really morbid joke, but it's funny. Any deathbed confession notes stuck under the mattress?
Potentially.
There is somewhat of a sad part to this story because I guess OJ's son has been living in the house, but he needs to pay back. OJ has debt to pay, and so they're trying to auction all this off. He doesn't want to leave the house, and so that's sad when this stuff comes down to family members having to fight over stuff. It's just not good.
It happens honestly more often than not.
Yeah, I know.
When somebody passes away, I mean, look at the scrap that's going on in the Padres organization.
I was
this
thinking
kind of stuff, unfortunately, is quite common out there.
Yeah, unfortunately it is. All right, let's go to the gross story, Chris.
All right, shouldn't we end with this one?
You want to end with this one? Okay.
I think the gross story ought to be saved for last. Hopefully we'll run out of time.
Oh, we won't. We won't. Okay, then we'll go to the hilarious story.
All right.
I think it's hilarious that the people who robbed Joe Burrow and Travis Kelce, more and more pictures of them wearing all the stuff that they stole they're appearing on the internet. And the hilarious part of this is that these kids are so dumb that they are taking pictures with all of the jewelry that they had. And then one guy even took a picture with his ski mask on and a screwdriver. Like, hey, I'm about to break into a house.
Did they include directions to where they happen to be now?
No, but they were found and they've been arrested.
Yeah,
so,
no, exactly.
They're wearing the expensive watches. They're wearing the chains. They're wearing the shirts. They're wearing the backpack, the Louis Vuitton backpack.
Yeah.
But these guys are found to be Chilean nationals, and they are already in trouble with the feds. They were indicted for transporting stolen goods and falsifying records in a federal investigation.
Oh, boy.
But, yeah, these kids, they're starting to figure out who this was. And remember when they thought this was some, like, organized crime ring and this was very, like, professionally done?
Apparently not.
It was just done by a bunch of kids.
Apparently it was a couple of idiots.
It was just a couple kids.
Yeah. And they always talk about the way that they catch most criminals is not by anything that the police do and the investigators do. It's because most criminals are stupid.
And then they stop caring about hiding it. And then they get caught. I guess close to $300,000 worth of stuff was stolen from Joe Burrow's home.
Wow.
But yeah,
I mean, how much is your stuff worth in your home total? Like,
not $300. I guarantee you the toilet paper he uses is worth more than my house.
Yeah.
But yeah, Joe Burrow, did you see him and what he was wearing at the NFL Honor Show?
If it weren't for people like Kyle Kuzma,
Oh.
Joe Burrow would probably be the
I don't think he's that bad.
Crazy dresser out there, but there's some other ones that
he does look interesting though with his it looked like pajamas to me, but he looks more and more every day like Macaulay Culkin. Like, it's crazy how much he looks like Macaulay Culkin.
He does. By the way, Joe Burrow not married?
Not married.
That's pretty clear.
Why?
No wife in her right mind would let him out of the house looking the way he does.
Well, I don't think. Okay, maybe.
I'm just saying.
Is Kyle Kuzma married?
I don't know, but my point is you will all know when Joe Burrow is married out there when he starts showing up in like a real suit and some sweaters and sport coats and things like that. But while he's out there, he's loving every minute of it. So why not? Good for him.
Yeah. All right. Here's the terrifying story, Chris.
All right.
Terrifying.
Oh boy.
There's a guy named Adrian Simancas, and he was kayaking the Strait of Magellan. Do you know where that is?
I don't. But
off
I've
the
heard-
waters of Chile.
Does it help that I've heard of Magellan?
Yes.
He was the first person to sail around the world, I believe.
Possibly. I think
Don't
that's
say
why.
possibly. I'm telling you, he was the first.
I think that's why they have that GPS name, Magellan.
Magellan was a great big-time explorer back in the day.
Well, Adrian was, kayaking in the Strait of Magellan off of the Chilean Patagonia area of life. And out of nowhere, Chris, a humpback whale came up out of the water and ate him. Put the Chilean person in the humpback whale's mouth. The guy was spit out later.
Ball game.
He's fine.
Wait,
But
he's fine?
There's video. I can't play.
Wait. He got eaten and he lived?
Well, humpback whales don't chew you up.
Oh.
So the humpback whale was going for a bunch of krill, I think it is.
Okay.
And it was just trying to eat, and the guy was in the way, and he ended up in the humpback's mouth. Now, there's video of this. I can't really play it because there's no audio or anything like that, but you could find this on TMZ Sports.
Well, who was taking video?
His friend who was with him. A short distance away.
Imagine the friend's reaction, wow, whoa! He just ate my friend.
Yeah, this guy looks... I gotta say that he is pretty calm for being in a humpback whale's mouth.
How long was he in there?
Oh, just a couple seconds. But the humpback whale took him under for a second.
I would have a heart attack.
I'm telling you, Chris, this is my worst nightmare. Being attacked by a sea creature.
Never mind being attacked is one thing. Eaten is another.
Gonzo says Chileans were tasty.
Wow.
Yes, they do have bristles for teeth. That's why they don't have regular teeth like a orca or something. Notice I didn't say killer whale, Chris, because that's not their name. It's an orca.
Okay.
I don't think I would ever return to life if I was swallowed by a humpback whale. Just wouldn't happen for me, okay?
Let's just hope that all of us avoid that predicament.
Okay. We're going to have to go to a pretty sad and serious story real quick, but Kadarius Toney has been kind of the butts of jokes for many years now, and he is in trouble. He has been arrested, and he has actually spoken out by it, and then he deleted the Instagram story. He said that people will believe anything about him as long as it's bad. He was accused of attacking his pregnant girlfriend on February 6th, and she called the police. The 911 calls are out, but he's facing one charge of obstructing, harassing 911 calls, one count of aggravated assault, strangulation, and they don't know if they're gonna charge him with the rest. But anyway,
I'm just gonna continue to hope for the day when these stories are no longer.
I'm with you, but
it's so hard to know. I mean, you want to just criticize Kadarius Toney and say, "Oh my goodness, what are you doing?" But we've seen so many of these stories turn out where the claims made are not true.
That is true.
So you can't just be upset right away because you don't really know what happened.
And I will say the media does love to pick up on these stories about Kadarius Toney. I don't remember anyone posting positive stories.
I got to be honest with you. Any athlete, that's well known enough, a suit is filed that says you were strangling a woman is going to get some attention.
It will get some attention.
Right.
It will. Let's go into the world of the Kardashian show a little bit.
Really?
Yeah, I never go here, Chris.
And let me text my wife.
She goes. I have
her favorite thing.
I've never watched an actual full episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, and I'm really proud of myself for that.
You're probably a little better off for it.
Lamar Odom has made an appearance, and if you don't know, Lamar Odom and Khloe Kardashian were married in 2015-ish.
Okay.
And Lamar Odom was he was a bad drug addict at the time, and he almost died several times.
Yeah,
and
she helped save him several times.
Khloe did, yes. Yeah. Which for her, it tells me a lot about her. That's a really tough thing to try and save someone over and over who will not take their life seriously.
But she also got to the point where she had moved on from Lamar finally.
And that's fine.
And now he's got his life apparently back together, and she wants very little part to do with him, which is understandable based on what she went through.
But they talked. She said one specific thing in the Lamar Odom thing that I thought was insane.
Okay.
She said that quote, I was there when your father said, pull the plug so he can be on your life insurance, end quote. So he was telling, Lamar Odom's dad, I guess, was telling Khloe Kardashian to pull the plug so that they get benefits.
Well,
this is crazy.
Yeah, that's a little...
it's morbid.
Morbid and, well, yeah. I'm just glad Lamar Odom has apparently somehow got past this all, because he should be dead by now.
He definitely should be. Lamar Odom is someone I think people maybe not look up to because I don't know enough about him, but he has made it through some really tough substance abuse issues.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, another Kardashian.
Oh, wow.
Well, he's not a Kardashian anymore. Tristan Thompson used to be on that show all the time.
He was married to Khloe, too.
Okay, so this is just a Khloe Kardashian ex-husband day.
There you go.
You were talking about this earlier, but he apparently got what's this story?
They were up by 30 points with 10 seconds to go, and he went down and dunked the ball.
Yes.
And after the game, the Toronto players were pushing and shoving and trying to get a little fight going.
Yes.
Because they didn't appreciate it.
Yes.
To his part, he said they were playing full court trapping defense.
He did say that.
So I don't care what they were doing. Come on. Stop dunking with a 30-point lead.
Why not? They were playing full court trap defense.
Why not? Because you kicked off a fight, basically.
A blank storm.
Game. Yeah, come on.
I like it.
We don't have a lot of respect for each other anymore, and it'd be nice to try to see some here and there.
All right, I can't fault you for that one, Chris. I can't. All right, final story.
All right, this is the one.
This is
we've
the
all been
gross
waiting
one.
for. Okay.
This is the gross one.
And I'm going to need some backing. You're just saying this on your own, and I don't like it.
Why don't you like it?
Because the person in question, you talk about being sued by Harvey Levin. Be sued by this guy if you.
I'm not the one he's coming after. He's going to come after all the guys that are actually like posting this. But I'm putting it up on the chat or on the YouTube right now so that everybody can see it. But
all right, I'm stepping out of the way here.
Jimmy Butler.
I don't want to be in on the lawsuit.
Jimmy Butler last night playing in a game with the Warriors in the fourth quarter took a charge, pretty hard charge.
He took one or gave one?
I don't know.
At the end of the game, he ran into a Kyrie, and that was pretty much the play of the game.
Okay.
They called it a charge, and Dallas won the game because of it.
I don't know that because I think he soiled himself during that.
God.
I'm playing the video right now on the chat.
Hang on, I'm going to need to see this.
And there is 100.
I don't see anything. Okay, there it is.
Hold on, I got to start it.
Butler 109.
I
don't see anything.
I know. Hold on.
I'll be the judge.
All right,
of this.
there we go. So he's walking to the bench, and there's a big old yellow spot on the back of his pants or on his shorts.
I got to tell you, that is a very
not flattering stain that's on the back of the shorts.
Yeah, I don't need to see it again.
I'm going to show you again.
Yeah, I don't need to see it
there
again.
There it is.
That is quite the stain.
I know.
Is it possible that just something went wrong in the wash earlier in the day and it just looked like that?
No. It wasn't there before the fourth quarter. It was there after the fourth quarter started, Chris. I think Jimmy Butler
lost control of his
stomach issues.
Lost control of his faculties.
Yes. Tyler says next week Golden State Warriors debut their new yellow/tan uniforms.
Okay, that's Well, we said it was gross. So
it was gross.
You guys are keeping up with that.
But has
there been any comment from Jimmy Butler on this yet?
I haven't really seen anything.
But everybody online is saying this is what happened, and they're showing the video, and just like you.
Yep.
Try and embarrass Jimmy Butler.
Well, TMZ Sports is really pushing this out there.
They are.
The title is Jimmy Butler, Short Stain versus Mavs. Is that poop emoji?
No, it's pretty telling. I must say.
Did no one? Okay, the one thing I will say that I don't think he would actually soil himself is because he went and sat down on the bench and didn't react at all. I'm thinking if
You're
you
making
sit
it even
down
grosser
on the bench
in my mind now.
And you react, you would be like, oh, I did that, huh? Okay, well, game's over. I need to go to the bathroom now. So, there you go.
There's got to be an explanation, but as of the way it stands right now, you see that stain, it's pretty much going to be the first thing you think of.
Yeah.
For sure. All right, very good.
He'll
Skraby.
cry into his $60 million. a year.
$60 million. I mean, get yourself a nice version of some Depends and don't make this an issue anymore, Jimmy. Wow.
I see a sponsorship opportunity.
Chris versus the Fans is next, 833-288-0973. Time for somebody out there to qualify for a trip to Las Vegas. Job of playing through the rain today up in Torrey Pines. First round of the Genesis. And you got all of these players in there, right, Skrabe? All of these big name guys.
Huge name.
Right. Denny McCarthy, not a huge name, is leading at 4 under par. Shot a 68 today.
That's really good.
Seamus Power, not a big name, shot 3 under.
That's not true. I didn't know his name earlier.
Patrick Rogers, never heard of him.
I have.
-3. Davis Thompson,
Haven't heard of him.
-2. And then Wyndham Clark and Scotty Scheffler, also -2. Most of us have heard of them.
Yes.
So anyway, looks like they're going to get the first round in.
That's good.
Which it didn't look like this morning that would happen.
No.
Good for them. Welcome back to Gwynn and Chris here. We got a little Chris versus the fans coming up. Reminder, if you're, the news of the day, reactions to Nick Pivetta becoming the newest Padre are wide-ranging, but mostly really, really positive and exciting. There's probably a few people out there that are like, what the hell?
Yeah.
For the most part, I think people are pretty excited.
That was Frank last night.
Oh, Frank was like poo-pooing the
Frank
whole idea?
could not get past the fact that they're paying him $19 million next year. I'm like, Frank! Frank! They're paying him like $1 million this year. Yes, but I can't do a Frank voice, but he's like, no, next year you're paying a guy who has a 4 ERA $19 million. It's like, Frank, come on.
He does
man.
have a 4 ERA. I mean, I can't argue that. I can't.
You can't, but it's
4.76. I mean, it's not even the low fours.
That's a career ERA.
Yeah, it's not great.
Rob Bradford made me excited, so I'm looking forward to it.
All right, Nick Pivetta, Padres. Also, what's the other guy's name? I'm doomed to forget his name every time.
What do you think it is?
Kevin Hart.
Kyle Hart.
I keep thinking of Kevin Hart.
Joe, it's not Kevin Hart.
I know it's not. Kyle Hart, the lefty from the KBO. Additions to the Friars. All right, you ready for a little Chris versus the fans?
Yeah.
We'll give away a chance to qualify for the big prize here, which is Motley Crue. They got a brand new Las Vegas residency at Dolby Live. It's at the Park MGM, March 28th, to April 19th. And you'll be qualified for a chance to win a trip to Las Vegas to see the show live. That's kind of exciting.
It is.
2 tickets to the show plus a hotel stay at Park MGM. Get your tickets, for the rest of you, at Motley Crue, the Las Vegas residency at Dolby Live at Park MGM. It's a long address. Ticketmaster.com.
I also would like to say, before we go into it, we are going to be adding a pair of tickets to the San Diego Legion home opener at Torero Stadium this Sunday. You can get your tickets now at sdlegion.com/tickets. And I have become aware that we have San Diego State versus Boise State tickets to give away. I think we're going to pick something. I'm making this decision on the air, Chris. We're going to pick something out from the Nick Boyd interview, and you have to know what it was.
Oh, so we will be, before the end of the show, we'll give away some Aztec.
Yes,
Boise
Nick
State.
Boyd's
That's
up
nice.
in like 15 minutes.
Nick Boyd will be our guest soon, but let's play Chris versus the fans now.
If you had one shot, one opportunity to take down the human almanac himself,
howdy do.
Now is your time.
Listen to me, this guy is dangerous.
Now is your opportunity to win a prize.
Well, I hope you know what you're in for.
Chris versus the fans starts now on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, the rules. You have to make it through 3 questions. Each question will get more difficult. If you get the question right, you move on. If you get it wrong and Chris gets it right, you're eliminated. But if Chris gets it wrong, then you move on to the next question, or you win if you're a first-time player.
No, it's kind of soft. Wasn't our best. What, are you
Let
blaming
me
for it?
What?
Blaming me for it?
Yes. Let us know before you get into it, and you'll get the first question for free today. All right, let's get to our first contestant. Who's been holding the longest? Dale has. Hello, Dale.
Hello.
Hello. All right, Dale, you ready to play?
Yep, Skraby still hasn't sent me my prize.
Come on, Skraby, send the guy his prize.
Again, I don't control those, but I'm going to talk to the people again, Chris.
That's all you can do.
Yes.
Dale, we are certainly not trying to keep the prize from you.
Oh, I'm sorry, Dale. We lost you. We lost your call. Oh no. I'm just kidding, Dale.
There's obviously something that.
Yeah, there's something missing here, so we will figure it out.
Mishap needs to be ironed out.
Because I don't like it. All right. Dale, first question. What golfer has a drink named after them that's half iced tea and half lemonade?
Arnold Palmer.
Hey,
Arnold Palmer is correct.
Yeah, very good.
All right, let's go to question number 2. What legendary golfer has been struck by lightning twice in his life? This is very famous.
Twice?
Twice.
Yeah, twice. He's also, I'll give Chris a chance. He's also from South Africa. I can't think of his name.
Okay, he's giving you a chance. I wasn't hearing Dale pretty well, but very well. Let me just make sure.
I don't think he guessed. Did you have a guess, Dale, or no?
I don't have a guess.
Okay, all right. Stay right there, Dale.
Lee Trevino?
You act like this question's so difficult, and then you get it right. I'm sorry, Dale.
Sorry, Dale.
I'm writing down your phone number right now, though, and I'm going to try and fix this one more time.
Yes, we will get your prize. I feel bad for Dale on that. That's not good. We promised the prize. We should deliver.
Yeah.
No, it's not
I
on
agree.
you. I'm not blaming you.
I'm actually, it sounds like I'm mad at Dale. I'm not mad at Dale.
No,
I'm mad that
Dale.
it's taken so long for Dale to get his prize.
Yeah.
All right. Next contestant.
By the way, Lee Trevino was a character
yes,
in the game of golf.
He was.
And I read that he used to walk up to just a regular old course somewhere, find some schlub.
You?
And yeah, me, somebody like me, and bet them that he could use a soda bottle to strike the golf ball, and only a soda bottle, and beat you.
And he probably did.
And he could. Yeah. He would just
How does he chip?
He'd slam it, and then, I don't know. Maybe
That's insanity.
Maybe he was able to pick it up and hit it from where it was chipped and putting. I don't know. Maybe it's a wives' tale. Maybe they've overstated it.
Well,
but Lee Trevino was the hustling type who would do
Oh,
something
yeah. I've heard those stories where, he would go places where no one knew him, and then he would just start hustling people on the course.
Yeah.
In Tin Cup, Kevin Costner destroys all of his clubs and only plays, I believe, with a 7-iron.
Right.
I wonder if that came from the Lee Trevino thing.
From the Lee Trevino tree. Yes, it might have.
All right, let's get back to the game, and we're going to go with Hayden. Hello, Hayden.
What's up, boys? Hey, Skraby, I thought it was hilarious that your first takeaway about the bottle was how does he chip? How do you get off the tee box with simply a bottle?
I think if you swing a bottle and it connects, I think
you could probably hit it 150
but
yards.
But the accuracy
maybe.
of chipping would be tough. 150 yards, I don't even know if you could hit it 150 yards.
Lee Trevino was...
I don't know, man. I feel like chipping would be easier than driving, but I digress. Let's play the game.
All right.
Digressing is good on this show.
Digressing is
we
good.
We do a lot of it.
Here we go. Question number 1. Let's see. Which Eagles wide receivers caught touchdowns during the Super Bowl?
Oh, geez, I didn't actually watch the game. You can give me A.J. Brown.
Okay.
And Devontae Smith.
Good job.
Who did it?
Good job.
Both of them caught a touchdown.
Yes, they did. All right. And Devontae Smith's touchdown was really nice. Over the top. Yeah, okay. Here we go. Question number 2.
Here we go.
Who is the first player since Babe Ruth to pitch 50 innings and hit 15 home runs in a single season?
Oh, I feel like there's a glaringly obvious answer here in Shohei Ohtani, but I feel like... No, I'm going to go with it. I'm going to go with Shohei.
All right, I gave it to you. I honestly thought it would kind of fake him out a little bit, but no, it didn't fake you out at all. Hayden.
By the way,
I thought it might be a trick question. You almost had me.
There we go.
I'm looking at the life and times of Lee Trevino here while we're talking.
Yes.
Said Trevino improvised, trying to get some action, and it worked. He taped the neck of a 32-ounce Dr. Pepper bottle. The glass was much thicker in those days, and used the bottle as his only golf club.
All right.
His opponent could use real clubs, but Trevino would throw the ball up and hit it like you would hit a baseball. And he said he putted between his legs, croquet style, with the bottom of the bottle.
Didn't Kevin Costner do that in the movie too?
Yeah, I think they took it right from there.
Okay.
There you go.
I love this.
So I wasn't wrong. This was not a wives' tale. It actually apparently happened.
All right, Hayden, you're on to question number 3. Here we go.
Let's go, boys.
This one's a weird question. I'm gonna be honest about it. How many baseballs could Reds catcher Johnny Bench hold in one hand?
Oh, man.
8.
8.
He was quick with that answer.
Oh, stay there, Hayden.
I thought he had it.
There.
I mean, honestly, most of us can hold one.
This came from my amazing sports trivia book.
No, I've seen the picture. I've seen the picture of Johnny Bench holding all these baseballs. And I thought when he said 8, he had it. I'm going to go with 6.
6.
Yeah.
Oh! Wow, Hayden is
Hayden's
the winner.
What did he get? 7?
7.
I'm right in between.
That is a lot of baseballs.
Yeah, imagine trying to do it. Johnny Bench obviously had large hands.
Yeah, I can't imagine trying to do that.
Not easy.
It's crazy.
Yeah, there was a picture of it somewhere.
I'm going to go look it up because I can't even imagine that. How would you do that? Like, is he stacking the ball or is it all in his hands? Let me see.
No, he stretches out his fingers. Just put Johnny Bench holds 7 baseballs. I thought it was 6, but you got 7. Unbeatable record, Johnny Bench's 7 baseball hole. There's a picture of it, Scrape.
I'm going.
It's quite remarkable.
That is wild.
Yeah.
That's a terrible picture of him.
Yeah, it's not a great picture of him, but it does show his accomplishment there.
That is wild.
Johnny Bench. Our friend Johnny Bench, who we saw in uniform at the Hall of Fame.
With Jeff Bagwell, I believe.
Yes. We didn't go talk to Johnny. We were too nervous
We were too busy watching Frank Thomas fight with the front desk about
Excuse me, Mr. Thomas, I'm going to need some ID. He was in uniform.
Yeah, it said Thomas on the back.
Yeah, that was funny. All right, good job, Wyatt. Hayden, I'm sorry, hang in there. You win the Christopher's the Fans Today. More coming up after we check some traffic, people.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting.
And Chris Ella, Tony Gwynn Jr. is idle. Matt Skraby sitting alongside. We're trying to hook up here with Nick Boyd from the San Diego State men's basketball team. Nick had a great second half the other night.
Oh yeah,
up in San Jose. I thought he was the key guy that drove them to that comeback.
Absolutely,
they scored 17 straight points and turned around another game. Really, their fourth Houdini win of the season. That's a lot of Houdini wins. You're lucky to get one win like that some years. They've had 4 of them, including both of the games over San Jose State, one against Wyoming, and then the Wayne McKinney miracle at Air Force. Yep. I mean, it's been some kind of year for San Diego State. And the Aztecs will try to keep it going this Saturday against Boise State, a team they beat on the road the first time around. And team they'll be trying to beat again. Boise State, played the Aztecs tough over the years. It's always a really good game. So looking forward to that one Saturday night. There's so many good games. I mean, they still got Utah State on the road. They got New Mexico coming here. Got to finish at UNLV, team that beat them the first time around. And, yet all of this stuff happens with all these good teams, and not a single Mountain West Conference team is even remotely ranked in the NCAA.
It is kind of wild.
Well, I think unless you play in the SEC, they just don't allow you to be ranked anymore. What's that? Oh, good. Nick is on the line. He's nice enough to get back to us so we can chat a little basketball with him. Skraby, you're getting it all squared away there? Here we go. All right. Nick is there. We appreciate it.
Sorry, I was trying to explain to Nick.
Understood.
I accidentally he called in early, which is great. I just wasn't able to answer, so I was apologizing.
Because you're a one-man gang over there.
Yes, and I was apologizing.
I'm going to introduce him in a way that he's probably not been introduced very often. Skraby, the greatest basketball game Nick, are you
nervous.
there?
Nick's there. I'm nervous.
Yes, all right, Nick is there. All right, here's my introduction for you today, Nick. My all-time favorite game in the history of sports.
Oh, no.
Nick Boyd made the first basket of that game. It was the Final Four game against Florida Atlantic, and he started the scoring in that game for Florida Atlantic. We're glad to have you on our side now, Nick. How's things going today?
Hey, so far so good, man. I'm grateful to be on the show. I appreciate you guys having me, and I can't complain. It's a little rainy, but it's good.
Yeah. You didn't sign up for the rain when you came to San Diego. Tell us, this season, I was just saying to Matt over here, I mean, you guys have had 3 or 4 really exciting, come-from-behind, dramatic victories. Is this something that you guys are feeling that it just maybe you're a little destined to do this year?
I mean, yeah, we had a couple close ones coming from behind, like you said. Ideally, not what you really want as a basketball team, but I mean, we just showed some character, our grit, our fight, and I'm grateful for that. And I mean, you talk about trying to play in March, you got to have those type of characteristics, especially every single game at March is close. So I'm grateful we have those characteristics, but we definitely got to clean up our starts to the game and not getting so behind, because it's really hard to get back. I mean, gratefully we've been able to do so, but you can't count on that all the time.
Talking to Aztecs guard Nick Boyd here on 97.3 The Fan, Gwynn and Chris. And Nick, this year you guys are, I can't say the bubble of the tournament. You're just trying to get into the tournament. What's been the message internally from Coach Dutcher, and what's been the message for you guys, the players themselves?
Yeah, obviously to win. I mean, we got to win, and we got to win in better fashion. Obviously don't want to come from behind as a recent, but we just got to get better in practice. I think as our preparation gets better and better, we'll have a better outcome in the beginning of the games, because that's what it really comes down to. So, Coach just keeps preaching to us that we have to keep practicing better. We have to come to practice, ready to practice, and willing to get better. If we do that, I think we'll have a chance to have a good March.
The one thing that every player who comes to San Diego State, I think they know coming here, but they'd certainly find it out once they get here, is that you better pay attention and play your butt off at the defensive end of the floor. Something you do very well, and I thought you triggered the comeback the other night with your, a lot of your defensive pressure. But coming to San Diego State, I mean, is that something that you were excited about, to play that kind of defense? And what did you hear about Coach Dutcher and this program that kind of intrigued you?
Yeah, I mean, flashback to when we played San Diego State in March Madness. That's all, my previous coaches were preaching about, was like how physical, how tough, how crazy the defense is. Like, man, don't really dribble the ball much, just keep it moving. And that's something I was like, I wasn't really too familiar with San Diego State at the time, but after watching the film and prepping for the game, I was like, dang, yeah, this is going to be a gritty game, and we cannot play around with the ball. So that's what I knew coming in. And then obviously, when you say you want to be a pro, you have to have a complete game. So I think the defensive end is something I'm continuing to grow at. And I think, working on those habits every single day here at San Diego State has allowed me to, like you said, pressure the ball more and be more comfortable to get some more deflections and go for some steals.
We're talking to Nick Boyd here, Aztecs basketball player, 97.3 The Fan. And Nick, since we were talking about it, you went to Florida Atlantic and you're with the Aztecs, both teams that have done some great things individually. What's the difference between the programs, or what are the similarities? Because they're both on their way up.
Yeah, I mean, man, I just say just attention to detail. Obviously, I feel like we did a good job there when I was at San Diego State, coming into practice every single day, ready to work. And I think we have the same approach here. I think that's been the same approach here since, years on years. But just from my experience so far, obviously having a young team, sometimes it can be hard to get guys ready to practice mentally and even physically at times, because the season gets long. But something I think that both programs have in common is just, guys willing to work hard and keep fighting throughout the season.
Nick Boyd is with us from the San Diego State Aztecs basketball team. Another great season as they look to take down Boise State here on Saturday and keep the run going for another bid in the NCAA tournament. Nick, how about Magoon Gwath? I mean, and how often do you get asked about Magoon Gwath? This guy is a freak of nature out there, and I mean, you can't get a shot off on this guy driving into the paint. Then he steps out, he's hitting threes, and he's starting to be a little bit more and more consistent right now. I mean, this is exciting to watch this happen, I think.
I mean, yeah, like I said, just to piggyback off what I said before, just the mentality to come and work every single day. I mean, the start of the year, it wasn't, sunshines and rainbows for Magoon. He had some ups and downs, but, as a recent, he's come on like big time for us. I mean, without some of his performances, we probably don't get out of those games with big wins. So his contribution, his productions, and just his energy that he brings to practice every single day is definitely, the reward of him playing well in the games. And we need him. Like you said, he blocks all the shots. I mean, sometimes myself and the guards get blown by, and Magoon's there to save the day, and he does that. Something he just has a knack for, and he's gifted for. But yeah, I mean, key part to the team, and like I said, his energy he brings in practice and willing to work hard every single day is definitely being on display.
And how in the world did you make that driving, twisting, backhanded layup the other night in San Jose? I think you know the one I'm talking about. I mean, you came down the lane, you ended up under the basket, and then out the other side, and you flipped it up. I mean, the broadcasters fell out of their chairs. Do you practice stuff like this over the years? I mean, because that was a great body control shot.
I mean, yeah. I mean, every now and then, we actually practice a lot of finishing during practice. So, you got to be prepared for everything. But I just think, as a team, we just got lost in that second half and just playing hard and having fun and playing with some swag. I feel like the first half, or even some of these games that we kind of dropped, we haven't had the same pop and swagger, and that's mainly on me to bring that. But, I mean, just that second half, I was lost, and when you're lost, sometimes you do some things you don't even see coming. And, I mean, not to say I've never done that before, but definitely was a tough move. And like I said, I was just lost in the game and having fun and playing with some swag.
Well, keep it going, Nick. We love it. We appreciate you coming on, spending a little time. We have so many Aztec fans out there, and you know that because they all pack up Viejas Arena, and they'll do it again on Saturday night. Just real quick, is the atmosphere as insane for a player as it is for us fans?
Woo! I mean, you see me. I'm always trying to get the crowd going. That's stuff I dreamed of as a kid. So, the atmosphere is electric. I mean, when we played San Marcos, I was like, dang, that was my first game in there. So
that's awesome.
Not on them, but just not,
Yeah.
They come to every single game, and it makes it electric. And I know it's gonna be a blackout come Saturday night. We got a big game, and I mean, every game matters for us right now. Like you said, making a push to have a big March.
I believe that we will win because we have guys like Nick Boyd on our side. Nick, thanks so much for the time. Very nicely done. We appreciate it, and wish you good luck the rest of the way.
Yes, sir. Thank you guys so much. I'm grateful.
Thank you, Nick.
Very good. Nick Boyd right there. Class young man from the San Diego State basketball team. That was good. He did a good job. I mean, he didn't sound like a college athlete. He sounded like he was on top of it.
No, he was definitely on top of it.
Those things.
I think it is funny that he was on the team that the Aztecs, I'm looking at a picture of the Aztecs beating them, and I can't believe that's how you started everything. Hey, remember one of the worst moments of your basketball career?
It's the best moment of mine. Lamont Butler's winning shot came over the outstretched arm. That's unbelievable.
Is that who's in that picture?
Number 2. That's
Why
Nick
would
Boyd.
you ever bring that up?
Because he made the first basket of that game. I
don't think he will ever remember that.
He did. He remembered it.
That's hilarious.
Well, he's on our side now.
No, he is. He was cool with it, too. It's no big deal.
Yes, he was. All right, Gwynn and Chris continues. Big Five, Skraby style, when we return.
Gwynn and Chris.
interview, paid some attention to the interview because Skraby and I are going to come up with a little trivia question based on the interview we just did. And if you call in with the correct answer, you could find yourself going to that game on Saturday night when the Aztecs host Boise. State. Not Boise.
Boise.
But I think 90% of people pronounce it Boise. And
Yes,
that's
I
just
know.
not correct.
I've been
People
told
in Boise get upset.
by a resident, a Boisonian.
A Boisonian? Do you think that's right?
I don't know, but they're probably going to get mad at me for that. But I kept calling it Boise, and they're like,
Yeah, no.
I know people think it's Boise, but I'm from Boise.
Oh, they get mad.
It's Boise.
Oh, they get really upset about it.
But it's just, it's
the-
not an easy way to say it.
In the game notes, when I do a Boise State game, it says, please refer to us as Boise, not Boise. Like they are
want you to
adamant
do
about
that.
it. Yeah.
They want you.
Day is pretty much over at the Genesis. Denny McCarthy is your first round leader. Woohoo! 4 under. Couple of guys at 3 under, and then Scotty Scheffler should have been 3 under, but Skraby, the choke on the little 2-foot putt there on 18 for birdie.
It's 3 feet 10 inches.
3 feet 10 inches.
Pulled it left.
He pulled it left, Scotty Scheffler. So he goes in at 2 under. Couple of shots off the lead. All right, we got your Big Five. And then stick around for the chance to win those Aztec tickets. First, a check of traffic.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danick.
For the most part, folks are doing a pretty good job of navigating our very wet roadways this afternoon. A couple of problems along eastbound 8th. One is a stalled car with the right shoulder near El Cajon Boulevard. Up ahead, got a collision at 2nd Street. Couple vehicles involved. They are over to the right shoulder. Also collision on southbound 125 near Hamishaw. A couple vehicles involved. They're over to the right shoulder. Also getting reports now of an accident on the West Bernardo Drive on-ramp to southbound at 15. Reports of a possible brush fire near the El Camino Real on-ramp to eastbound 78. Another possible fire near the College Boulevard on-ramp to westbound 78. I'm Kelly Danick with Gwynn and Chris, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
It's that time of the show when we check on the latest in sports. Only the most important topics and questions are brought to light.
Stop what you're doing and listen.
These news stories will astound and amaze you. The one, the only.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
The Big Five starts now on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, before we get into it, I need to read this. This hour at 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by Staples. Your local Staples has hot deals and super low prices throughout the store on everything for your business. And right now at Staples, save up to $250 off your print order. Exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details. Ends April 5th. Plus, save even more with the Easy Rewards program at Staples. Chris, one of the things that, before we get into the Big Five, one of the things that tugs at my heartstrings every single time I see it is when a dog is in a wheelchair.
Yes.
And
their back legs kind of have given out.
Yes.
They I'm always, it tugs at mine as well, but I also feel happy that we have the ability to have those wheelchair type carts so that the dogs can still
That's
get
a
around.
good point. That's a good point.
Like 10 years ago or 20 years ago, that wouldn't even have been a possibility.
No, that's a really good point. I haven't thought about like that. But a coworker of ours brought his dog in, and she's 2, and she's a great dog, and she tore her ACL.
Yeah.
And I see her limping around because they can't get her in, and it's fine until they get the surgery. But I feel so bad for dogs with limps.
Angie the dog.
Angie the dog.
Angie the dog's got a little ACL issue.
I know. It's very sad.
I must say, Kylie, my dog, healthy as a
horse.
As a horse. Yes.
healthy as a Maltese.
As a horse, she's only 10 pounds, but she's as healthy as a horse.
Yes. All right.
Number 5.
I am getting a little too soft with the animal stuff, though, Chris. I think I may rescue every single dog on this earth.
Look, let's be honest. If you're watching a movie, just any old movie, take any old movie, and there's a scene where there's a guy sitting there with his dog, and then I don't know, a tornado blows through the room, and the guy dies and the dog dies.
Oh, dog! I'm going to cry for.
Right? Do you even care that the guy died?
Nope.
Nobody does.
Because the guy has a chance to,
it's all about
a dog
the
doesn't
dog.
have a chance to know what's happening.
It's all about
a
the
human
dog.
knows what's happening. So if they die, it's their fault. It's not the dog's fault for dying.
No.
It's just ridiculous. Just
right.
ridiculous. All right, let's start with a tweet from Annie Halbrun. Midday show, Annie and Elston.
I've heard of her.
She tweeted, Pivetta's contract keeps the Padres' payroll below $200 million, but puts them about $17 million over the first luxury tax threshold. A team's final CBT figure is calculated at the end of each season. So, Chris, we didn't think they were going to spend any money.
Yeah.
They spent a little money.
Good.
Do you think they finish over or under the CBT at season's end?
What's a CBT? Is that
collective
stuff
bargaining
is that the
test?
stuff you
No.
chew off? Not CBD.
Oh,
sorry. Got confused for a moment. Yeah, they may very well be a little bit over. I mean, did they not reset last year?
They did. They're at the first threshold again.
Right. So, something they can afford to do. So, yeah, I'll say over.
All right. I think I'm going to say over as well.
It
think
looks like they're headed there.
They're headed there. I feel like they have, with no proof at all, they realized we're in the National League West. We're not going to compete unless we spend a little money.
Well, I also feel, we've already talked about this, so we feel another move could be made, whether it's trading Suarez or signing Alex Verdugo or any number of other things. I think the Padres still need another bat. They're short.
Yes, they do.
So we'll see how they go about getting that. But I also think that AJ, has proven, especially last year, that making trades during the season is not a bad way to go either.
No.
So the Padres, based on whatever their salary is right now, could go a little higher if they acquire somebody, during the season like they did with the Rise. Although in that case, they got what were the Marlins? Just being stupid, or were they just being...
No, remember I told you yesterday they said they were going to spend a bunch of money and then they haven't spent any money.
No, I'm talking about the Arise trade, where they basically
it was the
picked up
salary
the whole
thing.
salary for the Padres.
Yeah. I don't understand it either, because if you want to dump salary, you don't take on salary.
What did they get out of that?
Graham Pauley and Dylan Lesko and Woo Suk Go, but he got returned.
But
he was returned to sender.
Woo Suk Go did not pan out too well.
No, he did not.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move on.
Number 4.
I know money isn't a thing for the Dodgers, but John Heyman reported the details of Clayton Kershaw's contract with the Dodgers, and it goes like this. It's kind of weird. So he's going to make $7.5 million plus the incentives, and here are the incentives. For 13 games, he gets $1 million. 14 games, another $1 million.
Whoa.
15 games, another $1 million. And then 16 games, another $1 million. Plus for each on the active roster, $2.5 million for 30 days on the active roster, and then $1 million for 60, and then $1 million for 90. So it's kind of weird when all these bonuses are solely based on front office roster decisions. But I'm up first. Do you think Kershaw hits all of his incentives?
All of them.
I don't think he hits. I think he'll get the 30 days of active roster, but he was so injured last year. His foot was hurting him. I don't know how many games he's going to play this year, how many games are going to be in the active roster. I don't think he'll get all of them. He may get like 2 or 3 of them. What do you think, Chris?
I say that's a good guess. And the reason I say it's a good guess is because you look at all of the pitchers that he's competing against to be in the rotation.
Yeah,
The
that's
Dodgers,
another thing.
I mean, if Glasnow gets healthy, just right off the top, you're looking at Blake Snell, Glasnow, some guy named Shohei Ohtani,
What a
Loki
loser.
Sasaki, and Yoshinobu Yamamoto. That's 5 that is almost impenetrable. So where's Kershaw even going to, he's going to, be a regular start of a 6-man rotation or what?
I have no idea. That's a good point.
And there's other guys, Dusty May, there's...
What if he's coming out of the bullpen?
Gonsolin?
That's why they gave him 13, 14, 15, 16 game bonuses.
No, I think he'll start, and I think he'll be starting, haphazardly throughout the season.
Tyler makes another
based
good
on
point
injury.
that I thought about. They're
But
just trying to get him to his 3,000 strikeouts, which
he said he
needs
didn't-
32.
Well, potentially, but he said he didn't want to retire. He could have, and he doesn't want to.
Well,
So good for him.
He doesn't want to until he gets his 3,000 strikeouts.
Maybe so.
All right.
You know what? This is all fun and well to talk about, but I really don't care. I hope he,
All right.
goes 4-10 this year.
Me too. Although we're not paying attention to win-loss statistics anymore. So.
Number 3.
Chris, I have some very bad news. You don't have YouTube TV, right? TV. No, you
I
have
the channel, but not the service. YouTube.
Yeah, you don't
TV.
have, guess who out of the three of us, Tony's not here, has YouTube TV?
He does, right?
He does. And remember,
Yeah.
he switched
What happened
before
now?
this season?
From DirecTV to YouTube because
Yeah.
he wanted the football package.
Well, Paramount and YouTube TV are not coming to a deal about showing their channel on YouTube TV, and this may be a while, people say, and it's not good with March Madness a month away. So if they don't get something done by March Madness, then people are going to be in the dark
So
about
if you have
all of
YouTube
this.
TV, you may not be able to watch March Madness on your television.
Correct.
You'll have to find a way to stream it somewhere else.
Yeah, or
Which is always available.
Here's the question.
Okay.
Because we've talked about this so many different times. But do we need, at this point, a regulatory body to make sure customers don't keep getting the short end of these things?
And I should be in charge of that regulatory body.
I will be in charge of you, and you will be in charge of everyone else.
You can be my vice president.
Oh.
Look, keep cable alive. I know I'm falling off a cliff here, but keep cable alive. Do not give up the cord. Because
Don't listen to him.
Cable makes it so much easier to record games, to DVR games, to watch them. They give you every channel you could want.
This is cable,
YouTube,
though.
but YouTube TV,
it's
streaming
cable.
doesn't work.
It's not streaming. It's cable.
I can't. Hey, I'm sorry, people. If you got YouTube TV, you get nothing like it. That's just the way it goes.
I guess they're saying you can get an $8 credit on the website, but I don't know. This is pretty ridiculous. I don't know why this keeps happening and why it always happens around the time of major sporting events that people want to watch.
Well, because that's where you have, some pull.
So I guess the dispute, I'm reading an update because there wasn't much information on it earlier, and I was trying to see if they resolved it. They did not resolve it, but the dispute comes a month after YouTube TV hiked the prices by $10. The service has around 8 million subscribers, and Paramount didn't like the hike in the price. Paramount needs to get over themselves, okay?
I am so tired of Peacock, Paramount. What are the other ones?
Fubo.
Oh, my goodness. There's so many different... Put it on one thing. Have a sports streaming channel that I can get and find everything. It's never going to happen. I'm trying, though.
It's not.
Number 2.
If you put your sporting event on Peacock, I have no interest anymore in watching you.
Rob
just
said,
had it.
Rob said on the chat, I don't watch March Madness on YouTube TV, only NFL Sunday Ticket. So are you paying for 2 different cable services? Because that would be a waste of money, I think.
Can't help them.
Paramount is CBS. CBS goes down every year with the same nonsense, Rob says. All I know is that this is ridiculous.
Peacock is NBC, Paramount is CBS.
Yes.
What's ABC? ESPN?
Maybe.
I don't know.
Who knows?
It's incredible. You'd be surprised, though, Skraby, as somebody travels and has my phone with me. You'd be surprised how many games I can find access to.
Oh, I'm sure you can.
You don't think I have that gene in me. I do have it when it comes to finding a game I want to watch.
I do know that.
I'm pretty good at that.
If you want to see a game, you're going to find it.
Yeah, I'm pretty good.
Number 2.
Me, on the other hand, if I can't find it, I'm like, whatever, I'll just look at the box score later.
Because you're not a real sports
I
fan.
know. I was waiting for it. It's the end, Chris, of an era.
What?
Aaron Rodgers has been told bye-bye by the Jets.
I don't know if you could qualify that as an era.
It was a 2-year era, one of those years.
His time in Green Bay was an era. His time in New York was just a mistake, basically.
His best play, people are saying, from his 2 years with the New York Jets was when he ran out of the tunnel with the American flag on Monday Night Football.
Shortly before he
got himself
ACL
hurt.
or whatever
So,
he tore,
everything has gone poorly for Aaron Rodgers.
Not everything.
And the New
He
York
had one
Jets.
good game. This last game of the
Against
season
the
when he
Dolphins.
torched the Dolphins. It doesn't count.
All right, here's the question, or I guess I'm up first.
Okay.
Is this the end for Aaron Rodgers?
The end for Aaron. He's 41 now.
Is this the end?
Is he gonna hook on and give it another shot, or should he just quietly go away, Skrabe?
I don't think he can quietly go away.
I don't think he's capable of it either.
I don't know. I honestly worry about him after football. Because when people stop caring about what you have to say, I don't know that he's going to like that. But is this the end of his career? No. Some stupid team out there is going to give him $50 million to throw 25 interceptions and blow up your team's chemistry. So that's what's going to happen, Chris. It doesn't matter how bad of a person you are. And I'm not calling him a bad person. I guess I kind of
He's kind of a wacky person.
I guess I
He's
kind of
not a bad guy. He's a wacky guy.
Yeah, wacky is more of a correct way of saying that. But
think Aaron
I think
Rodgers
he's
is a
not
bad
done.
guy. But he's a very egotistical guy. Everything has to revolve around him. And I think that's a very difficult thing to bring to a team.
I agree.
So
I agree.
Somebody's going to have to risk it. But I don't think he's done.
You don't think he's done?
No.
All right, final one for the Big Five today is something that I would really struggle with if I had to play for the New York Yankees. Devin Williams has put out, or I guess pictures have been shown of Devin Williams, who was once a Brewer with a beard. Now he is clean-shaven, Chris, and look, he looks like a different human being.
Looks good.
It's amazing what happens when you shave a beard and what someone's face looks like.
One day you may find that out.
I've been thinking about it. I don't know if I could do it, but I've been thinking about it. Here's the question. Should the Yankees get rid of their stupid no facial hair policy? We talk about this all the time.
Maybe it's time, but you know what? They hang on to it, and maybe I should be grateful for the fact that there's at least one get off my lawn rule out there that still exists. But
you like it because it's a rule that tells people what to do.
That's right. And I don't know that that's necessary anymore. And I don't even know that a beard can be ruled offensive in any way. And maybe if you thought it might have been 20 years ago,
I don't
or
know
50
what
years
that
ago.
was. I don't know what the
I don't know what it was.
was.
But I mean, they've been doing this forever. So they put this rule in back, who knows, in the 20s or 30s. Maybe.
I get it.
But I think, it's time to let these guys wear a beard. If you want to put a restriction on kind of a wild, scraggly James Harden beard, that I get. But if you just want to have a nice, smooth, Skraby beard, it's time to let it go.
I think this is the Yankees trying to control their players.
No, I don't know.
Yes. I mean, and Adam saying on the chat, why would they? It's been a Yankees deal forever. Why would they? Because it's stupid. Because everybody can dress how they want to dress. As long as it's professional, why does anybody care if they have a beard? And the Yankees probably lose out on players because of this, Chris. Because people love their beards.
Devin Williams looks good. Looks
All right.
sharp.
That's
I don't
it.
know. I saw a video of Aaron Boone's ejection today, and it cracked me up.
Okay.
He's my favorite manager, I think, in baseball now.
All right. Well, he's still salty about the World Series, too.
I like that.
Not been shared.
He said, hey, the Dodgers popped off, and he said they did not win with class.
He's giving a chip to his team.
Good for him. I agree with you, Aaron Boone. The Dodgers are classless.
All right. Caller number 5 to 833-288-0973. You have to answer this question. In our Nick Boyd interview, what did Chris reference to start the interview? If you know the answer, give us a call, 833-288-0973. Let us know. You'll win Aztec tickets to the game against Boise State this weekend.
All right, here we go into the happy hour, everybody. Crisello, Matt Skraby together in the Odyssey Palace Studios. Tony Gwynn Jr., idle for a couple of more days. We'll have him back next week. And then he'll be on his way to Peoria. Don't forget, a week from tomorrow. How about that? A week from tomorrow, the very first spring training game.
I'm ready.
We are ready. Now that we got Nick Pivetta, we're ready for anything.
Nick Pivetta
Nick Pivetta has saved the Padres.
I don't think he knows
off-season.
how much
he doesn't
we
know.
all freaked out for the signing.
Nick Pivetta for, I can see vote for Nick signs being,
Well, when he has an ERA of 1.8 and he
Right.
struck out like 15 batters a
and
game.
all the analytic people are like, we told you so.
Told you so.
Yeah. That's the Nick Pivetta that the Padres hope they got. This guy with incredible analytics and spin rates and whiff rates. And
strikes out 30% of
strikes
guys,
out
only
rates.
walks 6%.
Right. I mean, he's got all these analytic numbers. What he doesn't have is a good record and a good ERA.
But what did you say during the interview with Rob Bradford?
20 out of 27 starts last year. He allowed 3 runs or less. And even though his record was 6-12, in games he started, the Red Sox were 14-13, which tells me that when he pitched, he kept them in the game.
Exactly.
And often they won. And really, from a number 4 starter, that's kind of all you want is a little over 500 record for your team. You don't need a great record.
True.
From your number 4.
I just want to say that Susanna was the winner of the Aztec ticket.
Oh, really? How did I start the interview?
You started it by rudely telling Nick Boyd that one of your favorite moments of your life is one of the worst moments of his life.
Of my life.
No, you didn't say it like that.
I
He
didn't.
took it fine. I mean, honestly, he probably knew this stuff was going to come up when he went from Florida Atlantic to
Florida
San Diego.
Atlantic to
Yeah.
here. Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, we remember. And, he had a great game on that day. I mean,
Yes, he did.
He had a really good game, and it just, went the way of...
He stood out in that game.
Yeah, it went the way of Lamont Butler. That's all you can say. But, yeah, Nick Pivetta's changed the entire outlook of the Padre fan base. Really has.
And we haven't even talked about the big factor in this whole thing, which is the pitching whisperer gets to work with him. Ruben Niebla gets to work with him. The whisperer.
He'll have Nick Pivetta in the Hall of Fame before
He's
long.
going to teach him how to throw lefty. That's one thing
He'll
we
be
should
able to
talk
start
about.
both ends of a doubleheader. Nick Pivetta.
That's something we should talk about, Chris. Their rotation right now only has righties.
Oh, that doesn't mean anything to me.
You don't care about that?
No. Why would I want a lefty in there if the lefty's not as good as what I have?
I get it, but I thought we're all about matchups these days.
Well, most batters are right-handed, so I don't see any.
So, yeah, okay. I thought that would be something that you may be more concerned about.
They had Blake Snell 2 seasons ago. He was a lefty. Did it do them any good? He won the Cy Young. They did not get to the playoffs.
Okay.
I don't know. I know what you mean. Some people are going to bring it up, but...
And there's still time.
The bullpen, you need some lefties. Yes, that's where matchups matter.
Okay.
But the starter giving you 5 or 6 innings doesn't mean a whole lot. Not, I don't think, anymore. Now, Nick Pivetta, having been signed with a tag of 4 years, $55 million, kind of got everybody wondering what has changed with the Padres inside the organization. We don't know. We're not privy to much of this. We know that there's lawsuits pending. We know there's a bit of a fight, struggle for control. We also know that John Seidler was unanimously approved by Major League Baseball to be the point person for Padre baseball. He's the, I don't know, what's the term they
Control
give him?
person.
That's what I said, didn't I?
You said point person,
Okay.
but same thing.
Same thing. So A.J. Preller was asked about this. I mean, is having a new control person, having that person approved, has that given him, being A.J., any clarity about the operation of this club? I think it's an interesting question.
Yeah, it's been. I mean, again, it's been very similar in terms of the whole. I mean, everything in terms of nothing has really changed over the last year in terms of since Peter's passing. Myself, I report to Eric Kutsenda. I think that's still in place here for the next 30 days, and then in terms of how we've gone about things over the last season and really this off season in terms of my responsibilities, the communication, talking about our team, our roster, the possibilities that are out there. There's been no real differences here over the last year, and nothing really over the last off season. Again, I've had different setups over the 11 years I've been here, from that control person setup, and again, like the biggest thing is we've always had people that want to win and want to go win a World Series and do it for the fans of San Diego. That's what I enjoy working for, and don't see any changes there.
Do you know John very well?
I've talked to John a few times. He's seen him a few different times at different events, etc. But looking forward to really spending more time and going from there with it. So.
All right, before we react, the second sound that you get when we go to spring training, the cleats crackle
you're listening
tapping onto the cement as they're walking by.
You're listening to the background sound.
That's the last part of that was interesting because we've all been saying we don't know much about John Seidler. AJ Preller doesn't know much about John Seidler.
Yeah, he was pretty revealing in that answer.
I'm shocked.
Which is weird for AJ. He normally gives you all of that, and then the answer's over, and you're like, what did he say?
He has his word salad.
Yeah, but this time, he really, he said, and I don't know if we can all 100% believe it, but he said that things haven't really changed in terms of him and the way he's going about his job. Said it really hasn't changed since the passing of Peter Seidler. It's hard to believe because there's so many people with their hands in the pie, as it were. You'd think that AJ would have to at least make a few little changes.
Part of me wants to buy it. Part of me does.
I would love to buy it.
Because, like he said, he reports to Eric Kutsenda, which is what happened last year.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know about this one. I got to think about it for a little bit.
Well, the bottom line is he said he doesn't know John Seidler very well, and he's looking forward to getting to know him. I think that's kind of interesting because without knowing John Seidler very well, he went out and signed a guy for $55 million.
Yeah, I guess that was Kutsenda that said it was okay.
Doesn't sound like John Seidler stood in the way of that.
Which is very refreshing and very nice to see. Very nice to see. By the way, Kyle Hart is a lefty. Not...
Almost sure I said that at least 10 times
did you?
in the show. Yeah.
Oh.
But thank you.
I was confused because you were talking about Kevin Hart being
Yes,
a lefty.
I don't know his name, but I know he's a lefty.
Okay.
Yeah, he is a lefty. Thanks for pointing that out there.
There's a lot of good video. I'm going to go through some of this on the Skraby Show, but there's a lot of good video from spring training. So just go to our Twitter at 973thefansd. I know some of those are on Instagram as well. Chris, I have another clip that might interest you, and it was AJ Preller being asked about Luis Campusano, your future All-Star.
My All-Star pick this year.
Yes, here's what he said.
I think Campy's got a big opportunity. Again, the catchers in the major leagues, there's not too many guys that you look up and, they're 22, 23, 24 years old, that they're, it's a position it takes time to kind of grow. There's a lot that's put on the catchers, especially in today's baseball with, the pitch clock and the game calling and, the advanced scouting, a lot that goes into it, obviously catching a big league game and then trying to perform offensively. So you see a lot of guys when they get to, 26, 27, 28, you see a lot of guys, honestly, not until they're 30 years old. So he went down, Campy played winter ball. We have Diaz here with him, but he'll get a real opportunity to come and make the team. And again, he's a very talented player. So, and at a position that's hard to find. So he'll, he has some competition with Maldonado, and some others that are in camp, but he'll get real opportunity to be a part of this team.
Kind of interesting he used Maldonado as the guy to say, but...
Well, Maldonado's kind of a known quantity. He really is. I mean, he's been, the catcher for a couple of World Series champion teams.
Yeah.
He's a great defensive catcher. He's going to hit 10 home runs and bat 190. I mean, that's what Martin Maldonado is going to do. Campusano, based on what happened last year, is a little harder to figure out. I mean, I think everybody thought that he was just on his way. 2023, Campusano hit 319. He didn't hit 250.
The whole year?
Hit 319 in 2023.
How many at-bats?
163. But he only had 277 at-bats last year, and he hit 227. So what, Luis, are you going to get? If you get the 319 guy, he's going to the All-Star game, and I'm going to be a genius.
Yes, that would be an All-Star game trip.
that's why I think Campusano is intriguing, because we don't know. I mean, I'm hoping he returns to some of that form that he showed there.
I'm hoping he gets half of what he did last year.
No, not last year.
I'm sorry.
He's going to need more than he did last year.
Yes.
If he gets half of what he did
ago.
last year, he's not going to be on the club.
He's not going to be an all-star?
No.
He's also making $1 million, which is something the Padres love.
But if he hits 11 home runs and bats .319,
that's good.
It's very good.
You'll take that.
And I know Campusano. A lot of people said it all last year. He's the worst defensive catcher they've ever seen. No, he's not. He's not great. He's not Johnny Bench holding 7 baseballs, but I think Campusano has room to grow, and I think he will. I think this is going to be a big year for him.
I would hope so. I mean, it would be nice.
Why would that be a bad thing?
It wouldn't be a bad thing at all. It would be a great thing.
Yeah.
Now you're not hoping and praying that your catcher position can do something. If you know that Campusano can deliver, then hey, that's a good thing.
We have 4 catchers?
Yep. Well, we got Campusano, Maldonado, Diaz, and Brett Sullivan. Right. So, yeah, 4.
That's what I said, 4.
I know. I was just confirming on my hand.
Did you know that the guy from Korea is a left-handed pitcher?
Woo-Suk Go? No. Kyle Hart.
Kevin Hart. I told you.
It's not Kevin Hart. Guarantee you that Tony gets that messed up when he gets back.
Is Kevin Hart funny to you? The comedian Kevin Hart? You can say he's not.
He was, and then he was oversaturated. Okay. But some of those LeBron and him, DraftKings commercials are kind of funny.
You okay with those?
Like when he says they're looking for a guy who can run the 40, not who is 40. I think that's hilarious.
I really have trouble getting into the whole DraftKings FanDuel commercial at all.
I mean,
I can't. I hate the fact that sports is crawling into bed with all of this, and I think it's dangerous, as I've said many times.
Many people are very confused as to why players are allowed to do ads for betting now.
No kidding.
Which is kind of true.
Pete Rose couldn't even ever be allowed back in the stadium again. I mean, he's a different
guy. But it is weird to have LeBron in a DraftKings ad.
Could you imagine Pete Rose hawking FanDuel? I mean, that would be comical.
They should have done that before he passed.
Yeah, should have got Pete in on that. He would have accepted, I'll tell you that.
He would have. Yes, he would.
All right, Gwynn and Chris, traffic next.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego.
me out here at 6 o'clock, and then it's the Skraby Chronicles. Last night, you had a good show. During your show is when Nick Pivetta signed with the Padres.
Yeah.
You then turned it over to Sam Levitt for Inside Padre Baseball. So you guys shined last night. Well done.
We did. Did you do you want to hear what it sounded like when I put out a video? Because I'm very excited to get breaking news.
Did you say that this was really exciting on the Intercom network?
No, I did not say that, but
Okay.
I checked all my sources. Here we go.
Right, you got to make sure this was true before you announce it.
Yeah, here we go. Hold on. We have a move, I think. Jeff Passan, 1 minute ago. I think we just found out our rotation stuff. From Jeff Passan, right-hander Nick Pivetta and the San Diego Padres There we go. are in That was agreement me on a breaking the
4-year,
news.
$55 million
And then I go at the
contract
end.
that includes a pair
Hart,
of
just wait for my
opt-out
hard
pending
hitting
physical
and
sources tell
analysis.
ESPN. Yes.
Wow, that's big stuff.
You nailed it, Scrabe. Didn't need to say another word after that.
No, you just need to go to @MattSkraby if you want to see that video. But
Good job.
It's fun to do the breaking news thing, but it's also kind of stressful because all of a sudden I'm like, what do I know about Nick Pivetta?
Yeah, you got to look him up pretty fast because he did pitch for the Phillies back in the day before he went to the Red Sox. I got a quick story for you that
Okay.
I think you'll kind of enjoy because you like little merry mix-ups like this.
Is it a dog in a wheelchair?
No.
Okay.
6 former East Mississippi Community College football players
Oh, yes.
have sued the school. The reason they have sued the school is because Netflix did a documentary series called Last Chance U about these players.
Yep.
And they portrayed them all as basically being in, correct me if I'm wrong, Scrape, because I watched some of the show. Basically portrayed these guys as complete, utter losers who no one else would take a chance on. And, this was their last crack at any kind of life.
I mean, that was
how they were presented or not?
Yes,
Pretty much.
but that's the deal. These people got kicked out of their schools.
Well, they say that they're seeking $30 million because that makes perfect sense. But they're seeking $30 million in damages. First, they received no compensation for their contribution to that show. I think that is kind of crappy.
Yeah, but they were also at a time when NIL wasn't a thing.
They're also holding the defendants accountable, quote, for the wrongful misappropriation of their likeness and to assure fair compensation for their work.
Brady and I talked about this the other night.
You did.
And I'd done a lot of thinking about it. As much as I want to say these kids deserve some money, I don't think they do. Because you can't just claim 10 years after the fact, hey, now NIL's a thing, you guys owe me money. It stinks. It's not a cool thing for Netflix to do, but I don't know how you could have paid those guys and had them play college football at the same time.
Well, I think what they're upset about is the way they're portrayed.
Are they suing the school or Netflix?
They ought to sue Netflix. And
But
get
they're
a whole
suing
lot
the
more
school.
money. Get a whole lot more money.
And I
right?
think the reason is because the school was the one that made the money off of them.
They have sued the school.
Okay. So, does that change it for me a little bit?
I don't know.
Maybe slightly, but it was 10 years ago. I don't know that you can claim it now. I don't know.
I think you can claim it if everyone out there, like me, who watched that show, feels that these 6 people were portrayed as some of the worst people on earth.
But that's like a show.
Maybe they don't feel like they were.
I
They
watched
were
this show
portrayed that way.
60 Days In, and it's about jail. And it's like saying, oh, these people were portrayed horribly on a show about jail. Like, these guys were banished to this school. The name of the show is Last Chance U for a reason. They had to turn it around. So I don't think that's the issue for me.
All right.
Waiting for a response. I was waiting for a response.
I don't have a lot more on it. Nothing like a good lawsuit for me to throw out of my courtroom. Saints, new head coach. I wanted to do this yesterday, but we didn't have time. Maybe we'll do it tomorrow.
Okay.
Because we don't have time today either. 6 new coaches in pro football, right? NFL. I want to rank them from the best that you think, the best hire, I should say, to the worst hire.
Should that be our countdown tomorrow?
Sure.
Okay, we just made our countdown, everybody.
Because, I mean, Pete Carroll is probably the most accomplished of the coaches.
Yep.
But he's going to the Raiders. So which of the 6 is going to work out the best, and which isn't even going to make our countdown because it's so bad?
That would be fun because we only have 5. Yeah, I like that. Okay. I mean, Kellen Moore.
Because I'm going to tell you right now, I think Kellen Moore is going to be
overwhelmed. So we're ranking him on the 6 that we think are going to survive or
I don't know, the 5 that are going to do the best.
5 that are going to do the best. I can do
simple.
that. What if Kellen Moore is already saying he doesn't know about Derek Carr? This is a.
You know that the 2 of them played against each other, and
I watched the game the other day.
Yeah.
That was kind of fun.
Kellen Moore won the game like 52-7. Derek Carr got taken out of the game.
He did. He looks exactly the same though. Derek
Kellen
Carr.
Moore, honestly, he just looks a little overmatched for head coach. I just my perception.
But what's the difference between him and say Kevin O'Connell?
Kevin O'Connell doesn't look overmatched. He looks quite confident to me.
He does
out
look
there.
confident. He won Coach of the Year too.
I tell you another thing. Aaron. No, it is Aaron Glenn. Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson. The last team that lost both of its coordinators.
No,
to the next season was the Eagles.
Oh, I thought you were talking 49ers.
No, they lost Shane Steichen.
That's true.
To the Colts.
And then Gannon.
And Gannon to the Cardinals. And both of those guys have been a disaster with their new teams. And it's not because they can't coach. We know they can coach. They helped get the Eagles to the Super Bowl a few years ago. So we know these guys can coach. The bottom line is, no matter how well you can coach, you can't do diddly without the best players. And that's always the way it's been going to be. Yet coaches get so much credit and so much blame. And it's really not accurate.
Like I was telling someone the other day, and I feel like this is a weird take, but Nick Sirianni, I don't really feel like he's this great coach. And even though he's won a Super Bowl, I think he's more of like a keep guys together kind of coach instead of like an X's and O's.
He's been to 2. I don't know. I mean, the list of coaches that have won, Brian Billick, San Diego State guy, but he was not a Hall of Fame coach.
Yeah.
But man, he had one of the most dominant teams of all time there.
He did.
The Ravens.
That would be nice to coach.
Yeah. Yeah, he looked really smart that year.
Oh, yeah. His defense was amazing.
Marvin Lewis was the defensive coordinator. We should know how world worked out for Marvin Lewis once he left Baltimore and went to Cincinnati.
Yeah, he got 17 years in Cincinnati and won 2 playoff games.
2? I think
he
won any.
Nah, maybe he didn't.
I don't think he did.
I was giving him the benefit of the doubt.
But Marvin Lewis was a genius. Just like the whole Vic Fangio thing. He's a genius today.
What about your guy Lou Anarumo?
Yeah, Lou Anarumo got moved on from in Cincinnati. Well, who picked him up?
I can't
Green
remember.
Bay, was it?
I can't remember, but yeah, Lou Anarumo a couple years ago was like a genius.
He was the one guy that could stop Patrick Mahomes.
And he was going to go and be a head coach somewhere, but he never got that interview.
Now Lou Anarumo is no longer a Cincinnati guy.
No, maybe better off.
I like Lou.
I know you do.
Yeah. All right, we'll take a break. We got a half an hour of fun stuff ahead.
If you guys can't tell, Chris
I'm a step slow today. I'm drained.
Chris's brain is a little
I'm drained
slow.
today. I got up really early, so I'm hanging on by a bit of a thread.
You know what we're doing? We're doing Rob Bradford. He's going to tell us all about Nick Pivetta, and we'll also actually we're going to do it right now. We're going to give you, since we've made it to that point. I got to wait 10 more seconds, Chris, and then I can announce today's biggest fan. I'll do it in 4, 3, 2, 1. Congratulations to today's biggest fan, Edward Martin in Vista. Give us a call back within the next 10 minutes at 833-288-0973. You'll qualify for our grand prize, 20 tickets for you and your friends for a night in our Odyssey Suite at a Padres game later this season. Remember to register your name at 973thefansd.com/biggest fan. Edward Martin in Vista. 10 minutes now. Break. Rob Bradford next.
Jam-packed. right, under the category, Skraby, we talk about this a lot. Under the category of a bunch of people charging a whole bunch of stuff against rich people, saying they were treated horribly or sexually harassed or whatever the case may be. Okay. And we're very quick to rush to judgment. Not you and I, but in general, I think people are.
Yeah.
Federal judge, District Court in Arizona, has dismissed all claims of defamation by a former Cardinals executive, his wife and daughter, against the team.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you remember, but I mean, the Cardinals were blamed for horrendous work practices.
Yeah, I do remember this.
And things of this nature.
Was it the Bidwell?
The Bidwell thing.
Yeah, I do remember this.
I don't know if this is the exact same thing. But
I remember the Suns was pretty bad, too.
Suns was bad. Robert Tarver was the owner there that nobody liked.
Okay.
Anyway, people make claims, and they're not always can be proven. So it's so hard for us because we want to say, man, this guy's an idiot. Or he's, he ought to be, hang him up.
Yep.
String him up.
Lock him up and throw away the key.
Yeah. Then you find out it's not even real.
I don't know.
I don't either.
I don't know why this is happening more lately. Maybe people are seeing more opportunity, but I do think they need stricter.
I don't want to say everybody,
stuff.
but I think a lot of people just want to, hit the jackpot.
Okay, I mean, yeah,
they want to make a claim that is not substantiated, hoping that maybe the other people will settle and you'll get a big paycheck. I mean, isn't that what a lot of people want to do? Do you think? I do.
Not me.
I couldn't imagine doing it. I couldn't imagine just lying through my teeth about something that did not exist.
Actually, I did tell Adam earlier today that you always punch me in the face when you come into studio, and I would like $1 million.
Yeah, but after that, things are good.
After that, we get to work.
Yeah, we're just trying to shape you up and get you focused.
Oh, okay. This is a boarding school, a reform school, something like that.
I don't know if this means anything to you, Skrabe, but Finland is on the board.
I'm angry.
Trying to surprise the United States in the Champions Cup. Or the Four Nations face-off.
Do not call it the Champions Cup.
I'm sorry. Henri Jokiharju.
Is he a...
Don't know.
Okay.
Jokiharju.
Do we know where they're doing this?
Where is the game?
Yeah. Because it has to be...
We don't.
In America, right? Because it's being aired right now. I'll find this out.
It could be in Canada, potentially.
Could be in Canada, you're right.
Montreal, Toronto, maybe. I think the Rogers Center is in Toronto.
Oh, yeah. And Tim Hortons is there as well, so.
1-0 Finland. All you hardcore hockey fans who think this is the biggest event of all time.
I've heard from all of them on the chat.
I know you have. I'm telling all of those people you're down 1-0 in the first period. All right, Padres got Nick Pivetta. What does it all mean? We've taken our best shot at it. But how about somebody from Boston who knows Pivetta well? Rob Bradford, his podcast, Baseball Isn't Boring. He also works for WEEI in Boston, covering the Bo Sox. And he joined us earlier with some Pivetta knowledge.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danick.
Not much relief on our very wet roadways, guys. Yeah, all the county getting hit with rain, but seems like most of our problems have been in the North County. North 5 Coastline past Harbor Drive. Vehicle went off the roadway into some bushes over the right shoulder. Up ahead, another crash right near the San Onofre nuclear plant. That's over the right shoulder. Then an accident before Basilone. That's over the right shoulder. Roadway a little flooded in various parts of the county. In fact, looks like that may be the culprit of this one crash where some vehicles spun out West 78 before Jefferson. Eastbound side of the 78, accident clearing near Mar Vista, but there's another accident up ahead right before the 15. That's over the right shoulder. And still clearing an accident on the West Bernardo on-ramp to southbound 15. I'm Kelly Danick, Gwynn and Chris, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Baseball Isn't Boring. It's a podcast. You ought to check it out if you're a baseball fan and haven't done so yet. Rob, we appreciate you coming on with us today at kind of short notice. Thank you so much for your time.
Oh, man, are you kidding me? It's my pleasure. It's an honor to talk to you guys, and it's been a wild day. I'm not going to lie to you. Like I've said before today, I picked the wrong night to take a melatonin at 10 o'clock at night. You know, when it started kicking in, the Nick Pivetta news just had happened. I'm like, okay, Big Pivetta. And then, boom, here comes Bregman when I wake up at 5:30 in the morning. It hasn't stopped since. But that's what I love about it. We hate how long this offseason has taken, but when stuff happens, it's awesome.
Yeah, and, Boston's a whole nother world. I mean, we love our Padres here. There's no question. But Boston, there's something different about Boston. And I'm sure people are, for the most part, ecstatic about getting Bregman. But I want to ask about Pivetta and just get some of your insight. You can look at the straight-up career record, and it's not very enticing, frankly. He's 15 games below 500, career ERA 4.76. But all of the analytic numbers, strikeouts and whiff rate and spin rate and all of that seems to indicate that Nick Pivetta is a pitcher who's about to break out and have a monster season. What do you think?
Yeah, well, that's why he was offered the qualifying offer, number one. I don't think the Red Sox, as much of it as he has been up and down for the Red Sox before, that if they didn't believe that he had the potential to have that aforementioned breakout season, they don't offer him the qualifying offer. He turns it down, and he turns it down because, really, of all the things you said, the buzz throughout baseball was this guy in free agency is going to be the guy that everyone's going to want, not necessarily because of what he's done, but because of what he's going to be. And really, that's the world of baseball right now, right? It's really we pushed aside what guys have done, and we say, no, look at all these analytics, look at the spin rate, look at all the numbers, look at the pitch that we can teach him this pitch, and it's going to be better. And so we're going to invest in that guy more than ever. And Nick Pivetta was the poster boy for this, but I think what hurt him was the way that the market unfolded. Obviously, the qualifying offer hurt him as well. But the fact that he still landed at 4 years tells you that, this guy has potential, and I do think he does have potential. He's not a guy where I say, well, he had a 5 ERA and it's a great spin rate, and you're just gonna have to take my word for it. No, I've seen this guy at his best, and he goes on runs. He can be a really good guy. He can be a workhorse. He can give you innings. He can perform at the highest in the biggest stage because he did it before in the Red Sox run in 2021. And so, yeah, I mean, I think for what the Padres did, what they got him for, I don't think it's a bad move. Yeah, it's uncomfortable because of the qualifying offer a little bit, but it's not. If you like the guy, don't get all wrapped up in that. If you like the guy, then go get him. It's not going to kill you with the AAV. It's fine. So I do think I see what the Padres did here, and I really don't have a complaint with it.
Talking to Rob Bradford here of the Baseball Isn't Boring podcast on the Odyssey Network. Just Google that and you'll be able to find it and listen to it. And you talked about the qualifying offer, which does mean the Padres have to forfeit a pick to the Red Sox, and it's, I believe, the second highest pick in the draft. I guess the criticism from people out here is they're trying to rebuild their farm system. They don't have many guys that can be used as trade pieces. Is foregoing this draft pick worth it for the signing of Nick Pivetta?
Well, I totally understand that argument, and like I said, I mean, I tend to not get wrapped up in going over the luxury tax and losing spots and worrying about losing picks because of the qualifying offer, because I'm a huge proponent of getting back to worry about who you're getting and not what you're giving up. And I know that's a simplistic way of looking at it, but if they look at Nick Pivetta and they say, hey, why we're rebuilding or why we think that we're going to ease back into contention here, it's important to have this player in our starting rotation who is going to be a good starting pitching for us toward the top of the rotation. That is what's important, why we figure all this other stuff out. So I think that I like that. I'm not going to lie to you. I like that. I totally understand the other argument because we've seen second-round picks really blow up. We understand how – listen, the top prospect in all of baseball, Roman Anthony right now, was a second-round pick. This happens. But at the same time, you just say, what is important to building the foundation of this organization, and are we confident this guy is going to be able to produce? And you got to be convicted, and I think they were convicted in identifying Pivetta in that way.
Well, you look at a little further. Again, I'm trying to, look and see what the Padres are seeing without going into the analytic part because it's so confusing, honestly, to me. But Pivetta started 27 games last year, and he gave up 3 or fewer runs 20 times, which tells you he's giving you a decent shot to win. And if you look at the Red Sox record in the games that he started, they were 14-13. He himself was 6-12, but that means he kept them in a lot of games that they ended up winning. So that bodes well. And you look at the strikeout games, he had 5 10 strikeout games last year. Now, some of this is starting to make a little better sense to me, Rob.
Yeah, and I'll go back to the year before where, he was, I think it was the year before, he was taken out of the starting rotation. And this was early in the year, and he was not happy. Like, he's a very fiery, competitive guy. And so he was not happy, but he figured things out, and then he went on a run after that. And I think that exactly a lot of things that you said are the important stuff, which is he's going to usually give you innings. He's going to keep you in the game. Some of his pitches, like, we don't need baseball savant to see like how different his pitches are. I can see them with the naked eye. Like, he has a 12-6 curveball, which is really unique. His rise on his fastball is elite. So all of this, and maybe sometimes a change of scenery, a different voice, that is the thing that unlocks it to the point where all of a sudden now you get the no doubt about it top of the rotation guy. But it definitely is there. You just cited the numbers, and you're bringing back a lot of these memories where I'm like, okay, yes, like he was really, really good at times. But, I think what the Padres are banking on are, maybe, like I said, like that change of scenery, different voice, just a little bit here, just a little bit there, you're on your way.
Talking to Rob Bradford, the reason he knows so much about Nick Pivetta, he's a Red Sox reporter for WEEI. He's also the host of Baseball Isn't Boring. And one guy that the Padres have now that got a change of scenery, it didn't quite work out as well as all of us wanted to, and that would be Xander Bogaerts. I'm not personally giving up on Xander Bogaerts, but from afar, the last couple seasons, what have you seen from Xander, and do you think that he can find his form again?
Yeah, first of all, Xander was always one of my favorite players, like, to deal with, because I feel like he was accountable. He played the right way. He was a good player when he played for the Red Sox. He played in some very important games, obviously, for them, all of the above. And so when he gets the free agent market and the Padres decide to blow, really, it was the Red Sox away. The Red Sox were the other team involved with an 11-year offer. Nobody was ever going to go that. It was crazy. And how does Xander turn down an 11-year deal?
Yeah.
And then you're moving him back and forth in positions. The thing that always concerned me a little bit about Xander was his wrist.
Mm-hmm.
He always had this wrist problem. And I know that it's cropped up here and there again. I feel like when he's healthy and his wrist is healthy, he's a far different player. And I think he can be a really effective player. Is he going to be a player that you want to sign an 11-year, $270, $280 million contract to? Probably not. But it kind of comes back to what we were saying, like, all right, who do you want as the foundation players to why you build everything up, why you get the Jackson Merrills going, why you get, like, everybody else coming up, Salas. So who are those guys? And there's worse guys to have than Xander Bogaerts. I think he's probably better than he's shown in the first 2 years. But, that's only me talking. Again, I'm a Xander, maybe not an apologist, but certainly a fan. I've seen the best in him. And I also know that this is a guy who isn't going to just take his money and not do anything and say, oh, well. I mean, he's going to try to figure it out, and I think he will figure it out.
Rob Bradford, great talking to you from Boston. I have one last thing. We have a minute or two left. Alex Verdugo played there for 4 years before he went to the Yankees last year. 13 homers pretty much every season, had an 11 in there, 70 RBI. I don't know how expensive he's going to be, but he's still out there. Would you take a run at him if you needed another bat?
Yeah, for short-term money. I mean, just north of a minor league deal. And obviously that's not what Alex Verdugo is banking on when he's eyeing free agency. But this is sort of where he's landed. He had a run with the Red Sox where you thought, oh, he might get an extension. Well, that obviously didn't go well, certainly at the end. Then he had a run with the Yankees. Like, oh, what a great fit. And then toward the end, that didn't go well. And this is where he is. This is his lot in life. But in terms of taking a flyer on a guy at low money, there's a lot worse outfielders you're going to do. Yeah, it's a flawed signing in a lot of ways. But for what's available right now, I would do it. I mean, I would for a short term, but a guy who's probably going to be motivated to hit the market again in a better spot than he is now, I would do it.
Rob, we really appreciate the insight.
Yeah, that was great.
Very good stuff. If you need anything, some insight from San Diego,
hit me up.
No, don't hit him up. Tony will be back in a couple
I
of
was
days.
going to say, he can hit me up and I'll set him up with someone else.
But anytime you need anything, hopefully we can reciprocate. We appreciate it very much.
Listen, guys, I hope to get out. I usually get out to Arizona. I always like swinging through Padres camp. And if I do, I make sure to drop off a bucket load of baseballs and boring T-shirts to you. So I appreciate it.
Awesome.
There we go. Very good.
Thank you, Rob.
Thank you, Rob Bradford. Baseball Isn't Boring is the podcast. Rob did a good job. Good insight on Nick Pivetta, the newest. Well, he isn't the newest Padre.
No, because
Kevin Hart is new.
Stop.
Kyle Hart.
I'm going to say Kevin Hart too.
Kyle Hart.
Kyle Hart.
He was actually signed after Pivetta.
He was.
Right.
He was.
Nobody was signed today, by the way, if you're wondering. But Skraby's still got an hour to go on his show.
I do.
Something could still happen today. You never know.
Sorry. We did break news last night. And you know what's great about breaking news is the chat is always there for me. Because
You didn't break
that's
the
where
news.
The chat
You
broke
just
the
read
news
the
to
news.
me. The chat broke the news to me.
He made it seem like Alex Verdugo would just be kind of a cheap rental.
Yeah.
If that's the case, I got to be honest. I could do worse.
You could do worse, but I have a feeling they're not going in that direction. I just have this.
Well, they have to go in some direction. I hate to tell you, they have to go in some direction. They need a DH.
They do. That's true. But they need less players than they did at the beginning of yesterday.
Padres all the way.
Padres, World Series champions.
Parade.
You know, I saw something about Xander Bogaerts the other day that I thought I should mention, and it was a tweet from a fan, and they said, hey, with everything that's going on with Wander Franco and Anthony Rendon, at least Xander Bogaerts is a good guy and actually cares about his job.
Yeah, people are a little angry for really no reason. It's not their money. And
It isn't, but I understand it.
Where does the "it's okay to be angry" stop, and now you're over the line being a jerk start?
Wait, what?
Where does the line stop that it's okay to be angry?
Oh,
and then on to hatred.
When it turns into real life hatred, like when it's internet hatred, whatever. Real life hatred is when it crosses the line.
I mean, Bogaerts has probably had a few people that are a little too angry.
Yeah, probably.
Brady Tkachuk has scored. Thank goodness. USA's tied it up 1-1 with Finland. Providing you the coverage you desire on Gwynn and Chris. Skraby's Chronicles are next. We'll wrap things up with the Friday show tomorrow at 2. Have a good evening, everyone.